From brief to build. Discover dozens of AI tools on Wix Studio, the platform for agencies and enterprises. Responsive AI.
We're also told the speech will be north of an hour in length, so we're going to hear from the former president. The message is going to be one of unity as well. That seems to be the theme throughout the duration of the convention.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to this week's episode of White Boy Wisdom. I'm your host, Based Whiteboy, and we've got, as I'm sure you guys are aware, we've had a pretty boring last few days, so not too much to talk about. I am, of course, kidding there. The biggest story since the last time we've talked is, of course, the attempted assassination of President Donald J. Trump, former president, rather. Absolutely making shockwaves across the country at large, across the media. Many different people wondering what the shooter's motive was, how such a blunder by the Secret Service could have occurred. And it has been roughly 5 days since Saturday, and we have virtually no answers. We know a little bit about the suspect, Thomas Crooks, I believe is his name, and we know a little bit of his background, but that's really all we know with confidence. And we'll start getting into that later into the show, but tonight we are here to react. We're here to give a little bit of reaction content and react to President Donald Trump's speech at the RNC tonight. He is supposed to be nominated as the GOP's presidential nominee tonight. And so he's going to be giving a speech. We are going to be watching that and reacting to it live. So we're excited to be back here today. Type 1 in chat if you guys can hear me and if my audio is okay. I have been fiddling with it again, maybe against my better judgment. But, you know, we got to do what we got to do. So let's do a little test here. Let's do a little test. We're going to switch over to the screencast. Set that up right now. We're going to switch over to the screencast, and we're going to see if you guys can hear that. Let's switch over. Boom. Here's the screencast. Let me pull this up. We're going to unmute the tab. Sorry, I'm a little bit retarded today.
This is a law of nature. And in that
so
moment,
you guys should
Donald
be hearing
Trump,
this.
months
Give me a
before the
W in chat
presidential
if you
election,
guys are
became the
hearing
leader
this.
of this nation. That was the most obvious to me. And I have to say,
We got
you know,
a little Tucker Carlson
I think it changed
on
him.
screen here. Did his speech just start?
Reached out to Trump within hours of it that night. And when he said to me that night, having just been shot in the face, he said not a single word about himself. He said only how amazed he was and how proud he was of the crowd, which didn't run.
All right, so I'm going to turn it down for you guys really quick. So that's pretty much the plan. So if this is live, I'm going to just start reacting to this right now. We're going to start the watch party. I had a little bit of a monologue plan, but I think we might save that until the end, or maybe just push that off to the next show. So without further ado, here we go. Here is Tucker Carlson, I guess, at the RNC. So we're going to be reacting to this. Here we go. Let me know if this is too quiet or too loud. I'm willing to adjust the audio.
The most obvious opportunity in politics to inflame the nation after being shot. To inflame the nation, which is an opportunity that almost every other politician I've ever met, and certainly his opponents, would have taken instantly. And they would have said, well, what is this? How did he get shot? Like, how did this happen? And those are real questions that we have to get to the bottom of. But in the moments, the days, the week after the shooting, he did not say that. He did his best to bring the country together, and I thought, this is the divisive figure, this is the irresponsible person. No. This is the most responsible, unifying behavior of a leader I think I've ever seen. So the question is, where is he leading us? And I could go on for hours, but let me just sum it up. I do think the entire point from the famous escalator ride 9 years ago until today of Donald Trump's public life has been to remind us of one fact, which is a leader's duty is to his people, to his country, and to no other. That's the point. That's the only point. And another word for this is democracy. Democracy, in case you're a little sick of being beaten in the face with democracy on television, actual democracy is the proposition that the citizens of a country own that country. They're not renters, they're not serfs, they're not slaves, they are the owners of the country. And for that to be true, their leaders have to represent them, which is another way of saying they have to do what the people want them to do, or a close approximation thereof. But if they completely ignore what people want, not just 1 year, but generationally, say for 50 years, then it may be, I don't know what, it's not a democracy.
Just making sure, sorry guys.
And so I think the entire Trump project, paradoxically, is attacked as an enemy of democracy, is to return democracy to the United States. Hey, let's pay attention to what people actually want. And the lack of interest in that question in Washington is something that ultimately drove me out of the city after 35 years. Lawmakers stepping over the prostrate bodies of their fellow citizens ODing on drugs to go cast votes to send money to some foreign country. Yeah, actually, we've lost more Americans from drugs in the past 4 years than we lost in World War II. Yeah, our bloodiest war, more than we lost in World War II. Does anybody care? It is pathetic. It is pathetic. And do you hear a single word from Washington about doing anything about it? We know where the drugs are coming from. We know the supply routes. The U.S. military spent billions bombing the Ho Chi Minh Trail.
I think we could dress a little better.
You don't see our commander-in-chief suggesting that we use our military to protect our country or the lives of its citizens. No. That's for Ukraine. And it's too much, actually. It's too insulting. It's too insulting. It's a middle finger in the face of every American. It's a very clear statement, which is unmistakable. And that is, we don't care about you.
Tucker Carlson recently.
And Donald Trump, whatever you say about him, and I think he's a wonderful person. I know him well. By the way, the funniest person I've ever met in my life, actually. You can't be funny without perspective or without empathy, which is true. But everything else about Trump aside, he actually cares because he's interested in the people who live here because that's his job. A father's job, his duty is to his family. An officer's duty is to his men. A president's duty is to his citizens. And he seems to be the only one who thinks that. Really? And in his choice for vice president, J.D. Vance, he's made that really clear.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys follow me on
J.D.
Twitter,
Vance, I'll say this about him.
I was pretty
critical. He's a thoroughly decent man, and I'll just admit it, a friend of mine.
Very critical.
One of the very few politicians in Washington who actually is very close to his own wife, which is wonderful to see.
Tucker cook here.
And she's wonderful, actually. But J.D. Vance has views that are closer to Trump's voters than anyone else in Washington in office. Therefore, he's the vice president. That's called democracy. So I will stop on just one point, and that is what's happened over the past month since the debate, and particularly on Saturday in Butler. I think a lot of people are wondering, what is this? This doesn't look like politics. Something bigger is going on here. I think even people who don't believe in God are beginning to think, well, maybe there's something to this. Actually. And I'm starting to think it's going to be okay, actually. I do think that. In the day after the midterm elections in 2018, Antifa came to my house. The Democratic Party's militia, okay? I was at work. It was obvious when I was at work because it was public. My wife was home alone. They tried to come in through the front door. They terrorized her. She hid in our pantry. It was on television. It was horrible, actually. It was, I mean, I'm not whining about it. I wasn't getting shot in the face, but it wrecked our day. And the next morning, we're lying in bed, and the phone rings for my wife, and it's Donald Trump, who's not like a regular text buddy of Donald Trump's. She picks it up, hello? Susie, it's Donald Trump. And it's coming through, I could hear it. You know, I'm lying in bed, whoa. And the first thing he says is, I'm gonna stand guard outside your house. And she goes, oh, it's so nice.
You guys can see.
And he
says,
I'll never forget this as long as I live.
Sure.
He says, there's a lot of hate out there. And she said, there is, Mr. President. And then he says, but there's a lot of love.
YouTube is showing me a black
screen, but
my OBS is going with the screen.
And we are seeing that love. I don't think it's human love.
But if you guys could confirm if that's working, I'd really appreciate it.
And I'll just stop with this. I'm not always convinced that I'm on the right side. I've been on the wrong side many times. You'll never hear me say, I'm on God's side, or God's with me, or even I'm with God. I want to be, not sure I am. But I will say this unequivocally and conclusively. God is among us right now.
Okay, looking good.
And I think that's enough. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Golf General Manager, Trump National Doral, Carrie Tomasco Ruiz.
Can't hear me well or see the video. Uh-oh. Okay, can you hear me better now? If I turn the volume down, is that a little better?
I'm not sure.
And yeah, that looks like the video is. I'm going to work on the video right now.
But I'm going to give it a go. Good evening, everyone. My name is Carrie Ruiz.
OBS seems to just be spotty right now.
I am not a politician. I am not a public figure. I'm a mom of 3 and a woman of faith who's been fortunate to work side by side.
Okay, so is the audio better?
Amazing family.
Is this a better balance?
12 years ago, the Trump Organization purchased the iconic Doral Golf Resort after so many companies tried and failed to create a world-class golf experience, all while turning a profit.
Okay, perfect.
With his keen eye
Thank you.
for
Thank you,
business
N.
and
Big ups to
uncanny
you,
ability
sir.
to make things better, Donald Trump got to work. He poured hundreds of millions of dollars and his own sweat and tears into the property. He had a hand
I'm
in
eagerly
virtually
anticipating Hulk
everything,
Hogan's speech.
and no
I
detail was
wonder
too
what
small.
that's going to entail.
He didn't just change the carpet or apply a fresh coat of paint. He stripped this legendary resort to its core and rebuilt it the right way.
Wow, what a hero. This is the manager of Trump
hardest
Doral,
things
is that right?
to make it great again.
This is awesome, just talking
He
about
also
his
built
golf
up the
managerial
resort's
skills.
people.
We love that.
Thank you, boss.
We love a businessman king.
He empowered us. He listened to us, all of us, and he still does. No matter your role, he asks questions. He wants different opinions. He never demands more of us than he is willing to give. He is as generous as he is brave. And to those who work for him, he provides unwavering support. When he promoted me to the resort's golf general manager position, it was an out-of-the-box choice in a historically male-dominated industry. I am not a golf professional. I cannot break 90 yet. But none of that mattered to President Trump. He looks at things differently.
Can't break 90.
He welcomes
Unbelievable.
the unconventional. And I am
Completely
proud
disgusting.
to be among the countless women
Of course we
he's
are
promoted
kidding.
to leadership positions. I might add, he did it all while no one was looking. The simple truth is, no one can match President Trump's vision and unrelenting drive to make things better. He did it at Doral. He did it as president. He will do it again. May God continue to bless President Trump, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Pretty low energy speech, I gotta say. I'm not overly impressed with it.
This is the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists.
This is what we love.
All right, there you have it. Carrie Ruiz.
Alrighty, so I guess we're on break.
Trump's golf course there.
I'm gonna mute that. I'm gonna mute that for you guys. So far, from what I've seen, Tucker, I didn't watch all of Tucker's speech, so I don't feel too comfortable giving it an overall rating. Here, let me switch back to the monologue screen. Boom. I don't feel too comfortable giving it a rating yet. I need to go back and watch his full speech. I wasn't planning on reviewing Tucker. The Trump Doral management lady, you know, it was okay. You know, she kind of just attested to Trump's business abilities and everything, his ability to run Doral, which of course, I mean, I guess to some people that's important. Obviously not super salient compared to a lot of the other speakers tonight, such as Tucker and Hulk Hogan. Actually, let's check out the slate of speakers tonight. There's one other big one. I forget who. Let me take a look here. Speaking at the... Because Vance has already spoken, I believe. I don't think Vance will be speaking to... But you guys give a rating 1 through 10. It's Dana White. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, Dana White. That's gonna be... He's a great speaker, so I'm excited for that one. That's gonna be a good time, I think. He's a pretty, if you watch any UFC, he's a pretty passionate speaker. So I'm interested to see where he takes his speech. There's also been word, I don't know if you guys have heard, I'm sure you have, but there's also been word that since the assassination attempt, drastically rewritten his speech to not include Biden to kind of be a more general speech. So I'm excited to hear that. I think it's I'm really hoping, and I know a lot of other people kind of in our circles are hoping that it's going to be a real come to Jesus moment for Donald. I think everyone's kind of hoping that he really starts to take everything seriously after his life was almost taken from him within inches. And I think I mean I've been praying, I would recommend you guys pray as well, that he does have that coming to Jesus moment, and he kind of does govern more as a sort of on a Christian slant, I guess I would say. Yo, renewing your grind set in chat. Whoa, everyone, W for renewing your grind set. I'm just saying that. I know there's like 3 of you, and we're just goofing off. But it's great to see you, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. It's great to have you here. We're just streaming the speeches. We're on a little bit of a break right now, so Fox News they've got their yapper on screen, so it's just me right now. But yeah, I'm really hoping that Trump's had a coming to Jesus moment. He's really starting to take the game more seriously. You know, I know that a lot of people have been really disappointed with the state of the RNC, which is completely understandable. We had Harmeet Dillon giving a Hindu Sikh prayer to some deity. I forget the name of the deity, but some cockamamie deity. The RNC, you know, has pretty much just sucked. I watched a lot of day 1 and day 2. Was not at all impressed with day 1. The Vance nomination for VP, that really kind of took the wind out of my sails personally. Not here to counter signal that we can get into Vance later, but a lot of people, a lot of my friends, they don't want to hear any Vance criticism, so kind of going out on a limb here for this one, but I really don't like, not a big Vance fan at all. So we can maybe get into that later. But yeah, the RNC so far, day 1 was a huge L. Day 2, I think optically was better. I think a lot of the speeches from, you know, regular people were really good and kind of hit some good chords. I really didn't have a problem with too many of the speeches from regular people. However, I really had a problem with Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis getting all the applause that they were getting. This is then, you know, all this faux unity. I'm really not here for it. It's completely disgusting to me that they can walk right back into the RNC after completely betraying Donald Trump like this, and it's kind of a reminder, you know, this is still not our party. You know, this is a completely separate entity from, I think, what me and a lot of other content creators and guys on our side really represent, which is kind of a Christian nationalist right wing. And what we've seen from the RNC so far is completely not that. To put it extremely mildly, we've seen overt paganism in the case of Harmeet Dillon giving that Hindu prayer. So you have to keep that in mind, guys. The RNC is not the Republican Party is not our guys. We are not Republicans. We are seeking to infiltrate the Republican infrastructure and the Republican establishment, but it is not yet ours. So it's very important to keep that in mind. It seems like there is another speaker here, so I think I'm going to turn that back on. I'm going to turn that back on. So let me put this over here. Boom. Gonna keep me updated on this audio. I'm doing my best. This is my first time doing screencasts like this, so I'm doing my best to keep the audio as balanced as I can. Right, who's this lady? Annette Albright, former teacher. All right.
They champion safe spaces
instead
of safe schools.
See, this is already bothering me, the lifelong Democrat who's voting for Trump this year. Why are we pandering to these people right away?
Little by little, I began to see the truth. While Democrats spend more money on a broken system, Republicans are empowering parents and fighting for school choice. While Democrats think school resource officers are a threat to our students, Republicans know that they protect our kids.
Pretty boilerplate stuff here so far.
While Democrats won't admit that our schools are failing, Republicans will fix the system and make our schools safe.
Yo, Gamer Kel, good to see you, buddy. Glad you're in chat.
That's why.
Hope you had a good dinner.
Year, for the first time in my life, I am registered as a Republican. Thank you. Thank you. And in November, I will proudly cast my vote for Donald J. Trump.
They seem to be handing out the standing O's pretty liberally here. Maybe that's just the angles. I don't know. Maybe they're standing room only sections.
Thank you, and God bless America.
Yo, Calvin Benjamin is here. Everyone say hey to Calvin Benjamin. We're glad to have you here, buddy. All right, so I'm going to turn this down. Going to turn that down. Back to another break. So that, people like that, those kind of speeches, I kind of have a problem with that sort of thing. You know, I kind of don't want to pander and really run with the messaging of Democrats kind of recognizing the craziness and switching over to Republicans. I'm much more interested in the actual base, you know, white Christian America, which has been the base of the Republican Party for, you know, all of time, as long as it's been around, essentially. I'm really not a big fan of this sort of acting like all of a sudden the Democrats have gone completely out of control. They've always been out of control. They've been out of control this whole time, much longer than in the last 4 years. You know, it wasn't Joe Biden made things crazy on the left wing in American politics. So that angle is completely completely uninteresting to me. I really couldn't care less about it. I'm much more interested in like yesterday when they had like the old white little farmer couple who were, you know, absolutely adorbs. talking about illegal immigrants coming across their land, that they have land on the border, and talking about immigration from that perspective. I think that's much more salient to the actual Republican base than any of this. I used to be a Democrat, man, but now I seen the light, and Donald J. Trump have my vote, man. Yeah, I'm saying, that really holds no water for me. I don't think it really holds a lot of water for many other Republicans. I would even consider myself a Republican, but you get what I'm saying. People on the right, the typical base for the Republican Party. So that's completely uninteresting to me. So far, I'm not. Again, I can't really speak to Tucker's speech. I kind of started the stream halfway through his speech. It seemed to be pretty good, although he was kind of harping a lot on democracy. I don't really want to be hearing. I know we're going to, have not Based Whiteboy up on the stands, up on the podium, giving a based speech about democracy bad. Read some Aristotle, to quote John Doyle, but I don't think we really need to be slathering on about how much we love it. You know what I mean? We don't have to say we hate it, for optical reasons, but we don't have to say it's our favorite thing ever. We could just leave it alone. I'd be down with that sort of angle, but what do I know? What do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet streaming to see people. The guy on the internet streaming to 5 concurrent viewers, What does Based Whiteboy? No, but seriously, thank you guys for being here. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate you guys taking the time to view it and everything. I'm really kind of trying to kick in my my oratory skills into high gear. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. And I hope that as time goes on, we kind of start attracting more of an audience. I kind of have more of a reason to keep on doing this. I'm going to eventually start posting these on all basic podcast platforms. As kind of like an audio podcast, I think that's kind of an arena that I haven't really entered. But I think I'm kind of missing out on a large section of an audience there. So I think I'm going to try that when I'm kind of more confident in my audio quality, more in my oratory skills. So I don't know when that'll start. Maybe when I have a more consistent schedule. The plan, I don't know if you guys watched the last stream, but the plan is to kind of stream once a week on Wednesdays for now, White Boy Wednesdays. That's going to be the plan. So we're going to do White Boy Wisdom on Wednesday. Say that 5 times fast. But that is the plan. So we're going to see exactly how well we're able to stick to it. We've also got we've got a video in the works, but that's, those things, especially with my recent schedule, they're taking a while. So I wouldn't necessarily hold your breath on that anytime soon. But I do have some videos in the works that I'm excited about. So kind of just sitting here waiting for the next speakers to come on. How are you guys doing? Say something in the live chat. Say something in the live chat if you are hyped up here. Donald speak. What do you want to hear from him? What do you kind of want his messaging to be? How do you feel about the last couple of days, about the assassination attempt? Tap in the live chat. Oh, which I will read after this. It seems like we got an empty podium. Like somebody is going to be taking the stage, so might switch over. I think it might be Hulk Hogan. Schedule. I know I thought I pulled it up earlier. I'm very disjointed tonight. I don't know if you can tell. Very disjointed. Crazy that I was just watching with my mom. I was just watching My Cousin Vinny. Great film, but my mind was elsewhere. I was kind of nervous. I kind of get a little bit nervous before doing these streams. Get a little bit nervous about about doing the streams. I listen back to myself as much as I can bear. I know I can ramble and be a little stuttery and stuff like that. So I'm doing my best, but with practice makes perfect. So we're out here anyway. So they're on a commercial break right now, so no speaker yet. I was missing 4. Let's see. Okay, so Tucker Carlson. Here. Did we miss Hulk Hogan? No. No shot. This is unreal. If true, this is unreal. And yeah, she's after Hulk Hogan. Guys, if we missed Hulk Hogan, please forgive me. Please forgive my insolence. I had no idea that his speech would be sick. I thought I was watching the screen. I thought I was watching my other monitor, but I guess I missed it. I guess it slipped by me. Unreal. Unless they were saying something on the live stream that I missed. Hulk Hogan, but don't worry. Don't worry, guys, because at 8:35, this schedule's already backed out. The one we're already like 40 minutes behind schedule. N says, want to hear some Christ is King rhetoric. Yo, so true. So true, and we want to hear that. I don't think we're quite going to get that level of rhetoric, that Candace Owens level of defiantly yelling Christ is King, although that is what I personally, and I know a lot of you guys would prefer. Don't think we're going to quite be there, but I'm hoping that is kind of the takeaway from the stream. Or the takeaway from the speech, rather. But yes, I am hoping for the same. Alrighty, sorry, I was just keeping an eye on the stream, on the Fox stream, but still just talking heads. Nothing's happening. Yeah, I'm conflicted because I don't want to start going off on a tangent about JD Vance and then or anything else about the RNC and start missing some actual content that they're posting here. I'm trying to stay on the ball here as much as I can, so we'll see what happens. If I feel like I need to go on a tangent. I don't know if you guys have been following me on Twitter. Pull that up without having to sign in. But I have not been happy with the vice presidential pick of Donald Trump. I've not been happy with the pick for JD Vance. I've been talking about him for a while. I think one of the biggest aspects for this presidency, I think one of the biggest things Trump needs to look for is loyalty. He's been betrayed so many times in the first administration. And so I think the number one metric that he should use when picking people to put in his administration is loyalty. And as I'm sure you guys know, JD Vance was a never Trumper as recently as 2021. And I see N in the live chat here saying that he's changed a lot since 2016, and I don't deny that he has changed. I don't know necessarily what's going on, what's in his heart at risk of sounding cringe, I don't know what is in the heart of J.D. Vance. But I would say that even though, let's assume for the sake of argument that he has 100% changed and he is on side right now entirely. He's entirely on side. I still think it is a miscalculation on Trump's part to pick someone like J.D. Vance as opposed to someone who has been completely loyal this entire time. Someone like Ben Carson, say, like I was kind of pulling for Ben Carson as the race for VP kind of narrowed. Obviously, we didn't quite get so lucky. But I think loyalty really is the biggest factor. And you can get into the nitty-gritty about J.D. Vance's connections to Peter Thiel and the intelligence agency Palantir in Israel, and all that stuff is relatively alarming. But I think that the best argument, the biggest and best argument against Vance really is the loyalty factor. And I'm not, I want to also clarify, this is not in any way preventing me from voting for Trump. I am 100% all in for Trump. He has my vote 100%. He doesn't need to do anything to earn it. I'm not trying to hold out or anything like that. Nothing like that going on. I am just kind of giving criticism because I want to see the best. I want to see the best version of Donald Trump possible, and I think that includes making good personnel decisions. The story of the first Trump campaign was his bad personnel picks until like late 2019, early 2020, when when John McEntee entered the administration and was able to make a lot of personnel picks and hire a lot of loyalists. That is really when the ball got rolling, and it ended up being too little, too late. So I think if we want to be effective this time, if we don't want a repeat of the first term, I think the personnel is really a huge part of making that happen. Preventing a repeat of the first term. So that's my take on Vance. I'm not quite going so far as like the Groypers, and I'm not completely I was posting before Never Vance, just kind of trying to dissuade Donald Trump before the pick is happening. But, even with Vance, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance doesn't have my vote, but Donald Trump certainly does. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I will be voting for Donald Trump no matter what in November. Great. I saw we had two other live chats here. Thoughts on the Biden dropping out rumors? It's seeming more likely by the day. That Biden is going to drop out. I mean, just think about it from their perspective. They are literally in a no-win scenario. The Democrats are in a total no-win scenario. Their only hope is to Biden. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, they have ballot access is a big problem. They're past a lot of these deadlines for ballot access for a new candidate. What a lot of people fail to realize is that if they have the political will to make this happen, it's going to happen. It's not so much a matter of rules. It's a matter of, do you have it? It all goes back to personnel. It's a matter of, do you have competent personnel that are actually going to force through changes like that for the betterment of your party? And I think the Democrats, we hate them, but they understand how to win, and in a way that the Republicans simply don't. You wouldn't see Republicans defying or making any changes to ballot access legislation just to get rid of a bad candidate that they know is going to sink them. But the Democrats are absolutely going to do that because they understand power and they understand what they need to do to win, and they're going to do whatever it takes to win. And we need to really adopt that mindset. We really need to adopt that winner's mindset, that win at all costs mindset. We don't have a choice. The window of opportunity to make a change here is rapidly closing. And this has been a big debate on Twitter recently, sort of in a tangential way, where everyone is kind of discussing that lady that worked at Home Depot who was canceled because she kind of was gloating about the death of Corey Comparator at the Trump shooting. He was the man who died at the Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. This woman who worked at Home Depot was gloating about that and I believe Libs of TikTok got her fired. And a lot of squishes on the right wing really were not happy about that, and were saying, "Well, I guess we're no better than the left then. We need to stand against cancel culture from all sides." And anyone who understands power and politics knows that that's completely ridiculous. Simply put, it is okay when we do it. You know, we are the ones who are actually trying. They are trying to, make no mistake, these people on the left, they are abjectly evil. Okay? We absolutely need to stop them from carrying out their agenda. Now, this is not a Fed post or anything, okay? Based Whiteboy condemns political violence, but we absolutely cannot be morally grandstanding about how mean it is to make people lose their jobs at Home Depot. Okay? These people, I don't know if you noticed on Twitter, but these people were gleefully cheering about the death of the hero, Corey Comparator, at the Butler, PA rally. They were gleeful about this. Okay? It's not because of who Corey was as an individual. It's because he is a Trump supporter, okay? He is generically right wing. They want his fate for all of us, for me, for you, for your family. They want that for all of us, okay? So we have to realize we are in a dirty dogfight here, okay? This is going to be a dogfight for the country, and we need to start understanding the stakes. We have to start playing to win. We can't just keep on screaming about what if the roles were reversed? That wouldn't be very nice. We need to actually reverse the roles, okay? We need to actually start fighting back in a meaningful way, and if that means canceling some liberal old lady who works at home, so be it. They're happy to see you dead, okay? If they're willing to kill and you're not even willing to lose them their job, you never stood a chance. You're never going to win. You don't have what it takes. So step aside. Let the boys who actually understand what needs to be done take care of business, okay? That's my thought. I kind of got away from the Biden topic, but I think it was a good tangent nonetheless. I think that was a good tangent nonetheless. N says his mind is open to be changed, but he likes Vance. Yeah, I know a lot of people who I respect are happy about the Vance pick. You know, Andrew Torba, people like Jaws. You know, people who I'm either friends with or who I respect greatly, or both, are pretty happy with the Vance pick. I can't necessarily say that I'm ever going to be happy with it, but Andrew Torba was making a good point on Twitter where he was saying that Vance is probably the most influenceable person that we could have gotten. Really kind of does follow a lot of the right people on Twitter, and a lot of our guys, so to speak, have his ear on Twitter, and that kind of does give us a chance to talk to him and kind of get him to make some decisions that would be favorable to us. And I think that's a good point, you know. I think that kind of having Vance's ear, whereas someone like Ben Carson or, you know, even Donald Trump himself are almost completely unreachable to the average proll like us. You know, JD Vance is kind of in the know on vaguely on these sort of things. Now, granted, he is pretty connected to the BAP, the Talmudic BAP network and stuff like that, you know. So it's not exactly what we want. And it isn't my first pick, but I do understand that there are some positives to this, and I'm not here to black pill either. A lot of people are kind of just posting it's over after Vance is picked. Has Trump learned nothing, this, that, and the other thing? And, you know, while I think it's a pretty bad pick, I'm not going to sit here and black pill and say that it's over because the vice president isn't exactly the most consequential role for the majority of the term. And I know it did have consequence in the last term with Mike Pence's betrayal on January 6th, but we can't really have that same type of betrayal happen twice just because this is Trump's second term. You know, we're never going to have some kind of re-election like that. I mean, unless, of course, we have a really good candidate running in 2028 who Vance can screw over. But you know, we're gonna have to cross that bridge when we come to it. It's been made. It's time to fall in line. It's time to trust the plan a little bit. And I understand the criticisms. I've made many of the criticisms myself, but the time really is, time is now. They want to kill Donald Trump for a reason. That alone is enough to get him my complete and total backing. So we don't like Vance, but we love Donald Trump, and we're voting for the Trump-Vance ticket no matter what. We're voting for the Trump anyone ticket because we trust Donald Trump's judgment. Well, I'm not going to necessarily we trust his whole judgment, but we trust Trump. That's my take. That's my brief thoughts on Vance. Maybe we'll talk about that at a later date on a different show next week at some point. We're still waiting for a speaker on the RNC. I believe Kid Rock was just performing at the RNC, so I didn't really reacting to a Kid Rock performance. Maybe you guys think, no, maybe you would have loved that. So if you would have loved that, I'm sorry. Maybe next time Kid Rock performs, I'll do a reaction stream. Let me know in chat, what do you guys think of the new studio, quote unquote? Obviously, I'm still physically in the same place, but what do you think of the new backdrop, the little desk and the night sky outside the window, the little mug? What are we thinking about the new studio? I've spent a lot of time kind of putting this together, trying to make it look a little more visually engaging. Because I know, looking at other streamers and stuff, obviously you see their face and their mannerisms. It makes it really interesting. Not really interesting, but it's nice to have a visual cue on somebody. And obviously, to stay anonymous, I'm not going to have that level of interactiveness. But I can still kind of try and make a little set here that kind of evokes similar feelings and everything. So let me know what you think of the set. Speed Merchant says, react to it, Brotown. It's over. It ended already. I missed my chance. I absolutely would have reacted to it if I knew that there was desire. I had no idea. They didn't even really show it on screen. The thing is, it was mostly just a lot of commercial breaks and then like 1 or 2 clips of Kid Rock jumping up and down. So I would have probably had to switch to a new live stream, which would have been tedious. And finds the new studio utterly delightful. Thank you, man. Thank you. See, that's what I like to hear. You know, I gave myself a nice mahogany-looking desk. I got the nice night sky outside of my window. So beautiful. So beautiful. We got the Whiteboy Wisdom live logo in the top left. We got the laptop with the Pear logo. We got the I'm Too Pretty to Work mug. I'm pretty happy with it. I spent maybe like an hour putting this little set together, so I hope you guys like it. Watching. I think Trump just arrived. To the RNC, so maybe I'll cut to that. We can turn up the volume on that.
Administration, this time around, they have signaled, and it has been reported that they will be on the sidelines if Donald Trump wins in November, will not be participating in a possible second
the American
Trump
Lion
administration here.
American Lion post-assassination.
So
he's a real American, ladies and gentlemen.
You see Donald Trump Jr. You see his friend who also already addressed the crowd, Steve Witkoff, seated next to him.
That was funny. I thought they weren't going to name Steve for a second. He was just going to be and friend Trump Jr. That would have been fun.
Keep listening.
Here we go. Okay, we didn't miss Hulk Hogan. Everyone tune in. This is huge. Hulk Hogan at the RNC check. Eating it up. He's eating it out. Eating it up. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. Little slight blunder there. Slight blunder. We're going to pretend it never happened. Sorry, Hulk. Sorry, brother. Here we go.
You know something? When I came here tonight, there was so much energy in this room. I felt maybe I was in Madison Square Garden getting ready to win another world title. Or maybe I thought.
He's looking great. The energy's awesome.
So intense. The energy was so crazy, it felt like maybe I was going to press that no-good, stinky giant over my head and slam him through the mat, brother.
Yeah, brother.
But what I found out was I was in a room full of real Americans, brother. And at the end of the day, with our leader up there, my hero, that gladiator, we're gonna bring America back together.
My gladiator, my hero, my liege, my emperor. All hail. All hail, Emperor Trump. All hail.
You know something? I've seen some great tag teams in my time. Hulk Hogan and, ooh, yeah, the Macho Man Randy Savage. But you know something? I see the greatest tag team of my life standing upon us, getting ready to straighten this country out for all the real Americans. You know, even though you guys are real Americans, you better get ready. Because when Donald J. Trump becomes the president of the United States, all the real Americans are going to be nicknamed Trumpites. Because all the Trumpites are going to be running wild for 4 years. So with the power of Donald J. Trump,
nothing we're not used to. Nothing we're not used to.
America is going to get back on track. And like Donald J. Trump said, America is going to be great again.
True. True. Making America great again.
You know, when I look out and I see all the real Americans, I think about how Donald Trump, his family was compromised. When I look out there and I see Donald Trump, I think about how his business was compromised. But what happened last week when they took a shot at my hero?
Here we go. He's still looking good. He's looking large.
President of the United States.
Large and in charge here.
Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America.
Okay, this is a W. This is a W. You literally, like, people don't realize how incredible this is. You do not see this for people like Mitt Romney or John McCain. This was not happening at the RNC for those two. They didn't have Hulk Hogan. MAGA got Hulk Hogan. They've got Hulk Hogan at home. They got nobody. They don't even have Hulk Hogan at home. They just got nothing. Fridge is empty.
You know something, Trumpites? I didn't come here as Hulk Hogan.
I'm fired up, brother. Renewing your grind set is fired up. I'm fired up. This is fire me. This is firing me up.
And as an entertainer.
Oh wow, he's going mask off. He's getting real.
And as an entertainer, I tried to stay out of politics. But after everything that's happened to our country over the past 4 years, and everything that happened last weekend, I can no longer stay silent. I'm here tonight because I want the world to know that Donald Trump is a real American hero.
So true. We are loving this.
I'm proud to support my hero as the next president of this United States.
Trump is very much enjoying this.
You know, guys, I've known Donald Trump for over 35 years. You know, hold on a second, hold on. I just had a flashback. Man. This is really tripping. You know, the last time I was up on stage, Donald Trump was sitting at ringside at the Trump Plaza. I was bleeding like a pig, and I won the world title right in front of Donald J. Trump.
Incredible.
And you
Incredible.
know something? He's going to win in November, and we're all going to be champions again when he wins.
Hulk Hogan mask came off. This is straight Terry. This is straight Terry.
For over 35 years, and he's always been the biggest patriot, and he still is. He's always told you exactly what he thought, and he still does, brother. And no matter the odds, he always finds a way to win. And when he's back in our White House, America is going to start winning again.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. That's right, Terry. Put in reverse, Terry. So crazy to me that his name is Terry. Sorry, I keep saying it. It's so funny. So keck.
You know, guys, over my career, I've been in the ring with some of the biggest, some of the baddest dudes on the planet. And I've squared off against warriors, ooh yeah, savages. And I've even, like I said, body slammed giants in the middle of the ring. And I know tough guys. But let me tell you something, brother. Donald Trump is the toughest of them all.
Man, this is huge. Getting Hulk Hogan to say you're the toughest of them all. I wish. I dream of this.
The impeachments, the court cases, and he's still standing and kicking their butts. You know, we never had it better than the Trump years. Back then, we had a thriving economy. We had strong borders. We had safe streets. We had peace and respect around the world. But then we lost it all in a blink of an eye. Crime is out of control.
This is actually quite a good speech.
The price of food and gas,
memes aside, he's doing a good job.
And the only person who can clean this up is Donald Trump.
The energy is fantastic. And he looks really good,
guys,
too.
I really, really love this country. And I've lived the American dream. And I want my kids, your kids, and all those little teeny Hulkamaniacs out there to live the American dream, too. This November, guys, we can save the American dream for everyone. And Donald Trump is the president who will get the job
Jake
done.
Verdit says Hulk Hogan 2028. Real. After this, real.
So all you criminals,
maybe he's the guy.
All you scumbags, all you
maybe he
dealers,
shall inherit the golden Trump throne. We can only hope.
Brother. What you gonna do when Donald Trump and all the Trumpomaniacs run wild on you, brother?
Heck yeah.
God bless you, and thank you.
Okay, that was a W. That was just an absolute W. Hulk Hogan 2028. I'm thinking Hulk Hogan 2028.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President and CEO of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association and President of Samaritan's Purse, the Reverend Franklin Graham.
See. Running off. Where is he going? Oh, okay. That wasn't Franklin Graham. Okay. My mistake there. Oh, this guy really does look like he's definitely related to Billy Graham. I guess this is his son. The likeness is uncanny.
I've got the hardest job tonight. I have to follow Hulk Hogan.
That's keck.
But I stand here tonight as a private citizen who loves this country. I've been asked to say a few words and then to pray, and we're going to do that. Last Saturday,
as long as it's not Hindu,
in Butler, Pennsylvania, President Trump had a near-death experience. No question. But God spared his life.
True. It's good to bring this up to him while he's in the room right before the speech.
Experiences, it changes us. It can cause us to examine our lives and to reevaluate our priorities, as you should. When President Trump rose from that platform, he rose with his fist raised in strength, showing America his unshakable resolve to fight for them in this nation.
Gonna do wonders for the evangelis in the crowd. They're gonna love this.
One life and allow another one to be taken. I don't have the answer for that. But one thing I do know is that God loves us, and he wants us to be with him in heaven one day. And that's through faith in his son, Jesus Christ.
Yo, Jesus mentioned W's in chat for Jesus.
That whosoever believeth in him shouldn't perish but should have everlasting life.
Take that, Jews. Take that.
For as long
we got Frank Graham on the mic.
President Trump, I found him to be a man of his word.
Take that, Hindus.
Things that he said he'll do, he did. When he told me and our country in 2016 that he was going to appoint conservative justices, guess what? He did.
I don't know if I'd say Amy Coney Barrett is
in 2016, he said he would defend religious liberty. And guess what? He did.
But this speech is a good one, too.
I was with him at the United Nations when the first
good night so far.
President of history of this country stood there to advocate for religious liberty worldwide.
Based in Baptist pilled. You gotta give it. You gotta give it to the Baptists right now. I know a lot of people don't want to give it to the Baptists. You gotta give it to the Baptists right now.
On false accusations, President Trump demanded that he be released. And he applied economic pressure and sanctions until they did that. I'm grateful and thankful for what he did as a 45th president of the United States. And I know that as the 47th president, he will keep his word to the American people to make America great once again. It's an honor for me to be asked to pray for Donald Trump this evening. And so what I'd like to do, I'd like us to pray, but I'd like us all to stand as we call upon the name of the God of heaven.
Everyone stand and bow your head. I'm standing. We're all standing.
Our Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening with grateful hearts. Thank you for saving the life of President Donald J. Trump. In his own words, it was you and you alone who saved him. We pray for the others that were injured on Saturday, for the family who lost their loved one. Put your loving arms around them. Comfort them, and may they sense your presence. We stand before you tonight. We say thank you for the provisions you have given to the United States of America. You have blessed this country more than any country in the world. Sadly, as a nation, we have forgotten who is responsible for all the freedoms, the liberties, and the bounty that we enjoy. It has all come for you. Thank you. This evening, our nation is in trouble. We're divided politically, racially, economically, with millions of people seeking refuge and hope in our dry and thirsty land. You're the only one who can fix the complexity of the problems that we face today. We pray for President Trump that you would give him wisdom, strength, and a clear vision for the future of this nation and the task that is at hand. Continue to protect him from his enemies. I pray that you would surround him with men and women who will give him sound counsel and guidance. We pray for Melania, for Barron, and for all the President Trump's children and grandchildren. We pray for Senator J.D. Vance, his wife Usa, along with their young family. We're thankful for his strong stand for defending life. As your word instructs, we also pray for the leaders of our nation, whether they're Republican, Democrat, or Independent. We know that all authority comes from you. You are a great God, and we ask that if it be thy will that you will make America great once again. And we ask that you'll unite our hearts, bring us together, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we pray this in the mighty name of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Amen.
Amen. Okay, W prayer, Barron Trump mentioned by name, Jesus mentioned by name. This is a W. I only wish that this happened right before Trump's speech so that it would really push the God angle even more. But that was great. That was great. Now we got Rick Trump. Ugh. It is what it is. Doesn't have aura the way Donald does. Neither does Don Jr. But Barron, Trump was saving all the aura for all these years. He saved it all for Barron. He bet the house on Barron.
He spoke of a nation in decline, of dreams slipping away, of a future endangered by failed leadership and broken promises. It was in that moment I knew my father had made a decision that would forever change our lives. We realized he had chosen to step into the arena, to fight for the soul of America. He decided to leave behind the comforts of an unbelievable business empire, to leave behind everything he had ever built, to answer the call to serve our nation. Unlike his predecessor, it was not a decision born out of necessity. Unlike the current president, it was not a decision that would enrich his family. Rather, it was a decision made out of love for this country and a deep concern for America's future.
So far, so good, though. My father was clear
it would not be easy, that there would be a huge price to pay, and that the attacks would be vicious. Looking back, that was an understatement. The made-up Russia hoax, the sham impeachments, the efforts to destroy an unbelievable company, a company that I run today, the efforts to cancel us, to silence him, to gag his free speech, and to drag him through every radical left courthouse in America, to take his life. Yet through it all, he's shown unwavering courage and determination, not
a bad
just in
speaker.
public, but in every private conversation with me and our family.
Got the grandkids there. Fantastic optics for Trump there.
Fueled not by personal ambition, but by a profound love for this country and a love for all of you, the American people. That man is my father. That man is the 45th president and soon to be 47th president of the United States. That man is Donald J. Trump.
He's doing a pretty good, I mean, it's nothing insane, but he's doing a pretty good job. He's keeping it nice and simple and hitting all the notes, so I don't hate it at all.
In 2016, many people began to doubt the promise of America. Our economy was struggling. Jobs were scarce. Our standing on the world stage was weak at best. Veterans were forgotten. Our military was in shambles. Our educational system was broken, ranked 30th in the world. He could no longer tolerate an inept administration that handed $150 billion to Iran, a country that chants death to America, or witness the continued attacks on our Constitution and our religious liberty.
We'll talk about that later,
or
but
see the disrespect shown to our
the shots at Iran are very intentional.
being disarmed,
a lot going on.
and persecuted each and every
A lot of
day.
people who would like to see America destroy Iran, most of them Jewish. More on that another time.
From public use, or the Pledge of Allegiance removed from our schools. But my father saw potential where others saw despair. Donald Trump built the New York City skyline. He did so during a time when businesses were turning away from the city he loved. Crime was rampant. The streets were dirty. But he had the Midas touch, and he turned those streets and neighborhoods into gold. He faced every challenge with tremendous vision and grit. As he did during the 2016 election, he rolled up his sleeves. He remained unapologetic. He did not care to be politically correct. He restored hope. He restored a voice to millions of Americans who had been ignored. He restored the American dream. Under my father's leadership, the economy climbed to record heights. Jobs were created at an unthinkable pace. Unemployment reached historic lows across all demographics. Wage growth soared. He cut taxes for hardworking families and businesses. He slashed regulations. We saw the greatest 401k increase in American history. People bought their first homes in an environment that saw 2 to 3% interest rates. They started their families.
True, I'm hoping we can get back to that sort of thing.
With the lowest gas prices
Someone
in
who's
decades.
currently working on starting a family, getting married in a few months.
My father
Not to
made
make it
the
about
United
me.
States safe. Our borders were closed. There was peace in the Middle East. Soleimani, al-Baghdadi, the terrorists were dead. My father made the United States respected again, with the courage to walk into countries like North Korea, with the courage to impose tariffs on China, and with the courage to tear up trade deals that cost Americans their jobs. He brought manufacturing back to America. Small businesses flourished. He did what he promised. He put America first. We were winning. Donald Trump made America great again. But he also created a movement that threatened the special interests and the political elites. A movement that cast a bright light on the institutions weaponized against the American people. You see it in our schools. God bless the moms who fought back. You see it in your workplace. You see it on every news station, in every newspaper. You see it in the military. The most iconic military installations on planet Earth are stripped of their identity and renamed. Fort Bragg, Benning, Fort Hood. You see it in Hollywood. You see it in our two-tier judicial system. They don't even hide it anymore. My father has been censored. The former president ripped off Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, while terrorist organizations remain intact. My father has been persecuted, targeted by far-left Democrats, funded by special interest groups, and hand-picked judges. My father has been pulled off the ballots of states, radical justices attempting to defy the will of millions of Americans who adore who he is and what he stands for. My father even became the target of an assassin who almost killed America's single greatest hope for our future. The swamp is terrified of this incredible movement. They're terrified of it. They're terrified of you and the tens of millions of people watching us on TV right now. They've tried everything to keep him from you, everything, to destroy his legacy, to destroy his family. They have failed, and they will not win.
Just drawing on a little long now. The energy is fine, but kind of starting to drag here.
I love my Florida delegation right here. Thank you. My father stands before you with the most votes of any Republican candidate in the history of our nation. He has defied the predictions of every political pundit. He fills stadiums across our country. He energizes Americans to the issues facing this nation and does so with unvarnished honesty. He is not a threat to democracy. He is a threat to those who despise our republic, many whom are bought and sold, bribed
Respectfully,
and
Eric,
we
want him to be a threat to democracy.
And who have been dependent on the government their entire adult lives.
We want an emperor. Emperor Trump to dissolve the democracy, usher America into the new golden era, please.
Energy prices are soaring, interest rates are crippling, everything is unaffordable. The US dollar has been diminished. Inflation has made it impossible for Americans to live, to save for their future. Our infrastructure is crumbling. Our border is out of control. Millions are dead and displaced in Russia and Ukraine, a war that has no end and a war that we are funding. The Middle East has become a hornet's nest. Our greatest ally, Israel, totally under siege. Fentanyl is killing our youth and destroying families, while the current administration stands idly by, hoping their inaction will import illegal votes. Crime terrorizes our cities and our suburbs as far-left policies handcuff police. Male athletes, guys my height, 6'5", are swimming in women's sports.
Subtle flex there. Subtle flex.
Destroying the dreams of young girls who have trained every minute of their lives. We no longer trust our elections. We no longer trust our judicial system. And we no longer believe that our government is working in our best interest. In spite of where we are today as a nation, I'd like to speak to every American. To the homeless veteran sleeping under a bridge as illegal immigrants are housed in the most expensive hotels in New York. I'm sorry. We know it's wrong, and we will fix it. To the single mother who can no longer afford her rent, afford groceries, and has been forced to work 3 jobs.
Raise rent on single mothers. No, raise rent.
It does not have to be this way.
Raise rent. Support landlords.
To the
Unacceptable rhetoric.
Who lost a son or
Anti-landlord rhetoric. Unacceptable.
Incredible woman that spoke
Raise rent on the single mothers.
While an administration
Double it.
does absolutely nothing.
This is a joke, by the way.
Your government can do so much better.
This is it.
And it will. To the children who are being brainwashed instead of learning the fundamentals in school, I'm sorry. There are teachers who care, and my father will empower them.
This is really starting to overstay its welcome.
To the law enforcement officers, our brave Border Patrol, Secret Service agents who work every single day to protect our communities, knowing damn well that the system will throw you under the bus, I'm sorry. We will stand behind you.
It's a good sentiment. I don't hate the speech or anything. It's just starting to get a little long. A little long, I mean,
to
quite
commuters
long.
often petrified to take a bus, take a train, or walk the streets in cities across our nation, I'm sorry. That man right there will fix this. To the construction workers, to the middle-class families, to the families with children with disabilities, families who can no longer afford medical benefits or to take a vacation, I'm sorry. We will make America great again.
Holla.
And to my father, who has been ruthlessly silenced, slandered, and attacked by a corrupt administration, I'm sorry. We know, and America knows, that they're not just after you, they're after all of us, and you just happen to be standing in their way.
I love that line. That is a good line. That was one of the best lines Trump ever said. It's so true.
To all Americans watching tonight, the greatest retribution will be our success. Success not just for ourselves, but for our grandchildren and our children. Under President Donald J. Trump, the swamp will be drained. America will be respected. Our cities will be safe. Our streets will be clean. And our border will once again be secure. We will have peace. We will have prosperity. Your hard-earned tax dollars will enrich a better America, not be squandered in corrupt foreign nations. Education will be handed back to the states. We will no longer be 30th in the world. We will be first. Our children will understand family, our children will have values, and our children will love God.
Base, loving God.
Our country will prioritize free speech, respect freedom of religion, and honor our Constitution.
Respect the Christian religion. Period. I think that would be better.
I've never been more proud of a person in my life.
That would be.
A man who has defied all odds more than once. A man who believed in the promise of America when others turned away. A man who saw a nation in need of a champion and answered that call with unwavering determination and courage. A man who survived a bullet that was intended to eliminate him permanently from our future and from our family. Never have I been more proud to be a Trump. Never
I will
have
say,
I been more proud to stand by my
compare
father's side.
compare this to Hunter Biden.
Part of this journey, a journey with all
Dude,
of you.
no,
A
absolutely
journey to
no
save the
comment.
greatest country on earth. A journey with the most incredible people.
Trump's family
I have ever met.
mogs the Biden entirely.
Dad, 5 days ago, Laura, Luke, Carolina, and I held our breath as we saw blood pour across your face. By the grace of God, divine intervention, and your guardian angels above, you survived.
Oh, this is a good one. Took like 5 hours, but good one. Give it to them to start attack. If those guys
You
are
are
a
the
little
greatest
off
fighter I have ever seen.
beat or
You are strong, you are full of life, and you are unapologetic.
pretty cacked up.
Your optimism is contagious. Your backbone is unbreakable. Your conviction to fight for what is right and against all that is wrong is truly next level.
That was Bane. That was my Bane impression. What do you think? We do a little Bane posting when we're starting to get bored.
The strength is you stood up. You wiped the blood off your face, and you put your fist in the air in a moment that will be remembered as one of the most courageous acts in the history of American politics. You shouted, "Fight! Fight! Fight!" I'm honored to be your son. I'm honored to speak to our great nation tonight. You are a true leader. You epitomize strength. Our country loves you. Our country appreciates you. Our country misses you. And on November 5th, our country will re-elect you as the 47th President of the United States of America. Good night, Milwaukee. God bless you all.
Okay. I did like, I liked this as far as the content of the speech. I thought it was good. He just, man, that really did drag on compared to the others. Not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe it's just my micro attention. They got the living in America.
All right, Andrew Kraft back here. You were just listening to
All right,
Eric
so we're going to turn this down.
Of course, the son of former president.
We're going to cut back to the studio. Let me know what you guys thought of that speech. Did you guys think it was a little long too, or am I just cooked? My TikTok brain, am I just cooked? No, I do think it went a little bit long. I'm going to be honest. I think objectively it was a little long. But that's okay. The sentiment was good. It was a really well-delivered speech. It hit all the right emotional notes, I think. Really focused, like the imagery of the blood on the face and everything. Focusing on that. The rhetoric was good. A couple of cringe, obviously. He wants to reduce rent for single mothers. I, on the other hand, as a lover of landlords, want to double it. As a hustler who understands what it takes to make it in this world, these poor landlords. I say double rent on. Double it and give it to the next guy. We're kidding. But, we had the Israel greatest ally rhetoric, comes with the package of being at the RNC. Not as super egregious. I just get a little bit annoyed by it. But it is what it is. It was a good speech. A little bit long, but let me know what you guys thought. I think next we have a video. They're going to play video, and then we're going to have Dana White after that. So I think that's going to be pretty exciting. I think Dana White is really going to bring it. That guy can be extremely high energy when he wants to be, and I think he's going to try and rein himself in from the usual fare that we see at the UFC, which, is to be expected, so I don't think we're going to see complete howler monkey Dana White. Don't think we're going to see monkey mode Dana White as much as we would like that. But you know what? I think it's still going to be great. I think it's going to be great. I think he's going to nail it. Really hoping for big things. But as I was saying kind of during the speech, Oh, sorry, I'm yawning. Past my bedtime. It totally isn't, but we all get hit with the sleepies during these interim periods. Commercial breaks come up. We persist anyway, we persist. But like I was saying during the speech a little bit, I don't know if you guys got that, but I mean, compare and contrast someone like an Eric Trump to a Hunter Biden rather. I mean the differences are incalculable. I mean that's an absurd level of class and decorum from Eric versus complete insanity on the side of Hunter Biden. Even when he does get those interviews, you know, he got the Parmesan cheese interview and everything. When he does get the limelight, because he's at least kind of had the good sense to try and stay out of the limelight for a while. But when he does get the limelight, even he still can't hold a candle to really any of the Trumps. All of the Trumps, they're just so skilled. They really are a family that's kind of built for this sort of thing. Very presentable, they're very well spoken, they're very articulate. They all do a great job, and you just don't see that. Hunter Biden, even with the Obama's kids, that picture of one of Obama's daughters looking just kind of fat and decrepit in the street, and you just kind of realize that someone's family says a lot about them. You know, I think it says a lot about Donald Trump that he has, even with all of the different, all of his different marriages, which of course I don't condone, but even with that, all of his kids seemingly have a great relationship with each other. They really put their best foot forward. They're very classy. And you really don't see that from Obama's family. You don't see that from Biden's family, certainly. And I really do think that kind of says something about the man. You know, the man's family says a lot about the man. And what Donald Trump's family says about him is that he is a good father. I think you can say a lot of things about the way he lives his life, and it's maybe not the most Christian lifestyle to lead, but you can't deny the man seems to be beloved by his children. Seems to really actually be a father. And I think that alone, without even saying it, without even having to speak a word, that speaks volumes for Trump and his legitimacy as a strong candidate. Melania Trump just entered the RNC. She's looking fabulous, looking great. Now we're just White to take the stage. We're playing a video. Yeah, we'll cast this.
Giving back to the people in his beloved city. But most of all, this is a story about putting his country first. And it's a story best told in pictures. Young and confident, Donald Trump wasn't afraid to think big and build
photogenic.
Even bigger. And he left
always
his
been a
mark
Chad.
on the New York skyline that greeted visitors from around the world. But he wasn't just an American entrepreneur. He became a folk hero. Celebrities and sports stars wanted to be seen with him. Politicians sought his approval. And New Yorkers just loved him. And he loved them back. And he gave back. Just one example, saving the Woolman skating rink.
The Woolman skating rink in Central Park is open again. The city spent nearly 6 years and
This is true. This is actually a great story.
And then to the rescue, developer Donald Trump. As Tracy Egan tells us now, he accomplished in 3.5 months what the city couldn't do in 6 years.
Donald, you performed a great public service.
There was no denying that Donald Trump was the toast of the town. But he was also something even more important, a patriotic American. And like many others, he was becoming increasingly troubled by the direction of our country.
because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not.
You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined. I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning, because I think people, I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off.
But who would ever run for president?
That clip is goated. He's just always gotten it.
Movies, best-selling books, a widely popular TV show. But for Donald J. Trump, the calling to save his country was even stronger. The mission more important.
Sorry if you hear a little bit of rustling there. My chair is giving me some issues, so a little bit of technical difficulties.
He announced he was running for president, in it to win, and he did.
From his first day in office, the Washington politicians learned something about President Trump. He's not afraid to fight for what he believes in. They call that...
Tap in the live chat, guys. Give me your thoughts on this video. Are we liking this? Are we liking this video? I think the optics are quite good. I like it. I'm pro video.
For working families. Unfortunately, today, taxes are up and incomes down. The politicians just never learn. Next for President Trump, secure our border. Check. Miles and miles of wall built. ISIS and other terrorists deterred. But now, we have the Barney Fife of border security, leading to 250,000 Americans dead from fentanyl coming in. Brutal migrant crime spreading across America. And ISIS now here. President Trump promised he'd...
Audio is a little low on the video. Turn this up a little bit.
Welcome words to the families of our young men and women who serve. And another promise kept. He started by strengthening our military, then traveled the world, meeting with our allies, and even with our main adversaries. Just so they understood that America's strength and resolve was back. Because that's what a strong commander-in-chief does.
Yeah, feel free to let me know stuff like that in the live chat. You know, we're obviously still...
And our troops safe.
We're obviously still getting it down.
Today, a different story. Our enemies smelled weakness, then set the world on fire. Putin saw it, then invaded Ukraine. Hamas saw it, then started a war in the Middle East.
Is that a stand-in for Putin right there? That was crazy. What a Hamas said.
There's one more thing we've learned about President Trump. He believes so strongly in America, so optimistic for our possibilities, and so committed to fighting to once again make our country great, that there is nothing that is going to stop him.
Ladies and gentlemen,
W video.
Kid Rock.
Oh, Kid Rock. I thought it was supposed to be Dana White next. Or is he singing again? This time we'll react. I know you guys want it. Okay. Okay, we'll react to the Kid Rock performance here. Just gonna turn it down a smidge. I don't know if this is, I'm not a big Kid Rock guy. I don't know if this is a new song or if this is, you know, if this is something he workshopped based on the assassination attempt. I have no idea, so. Yo, Black Coffee, thanks for the support. Loaded Up saw him live. Hell yeah, I agree. When Based Whiteboy is live, hell yeah. Bruh. See, my take on Kid Rock is I'm not a big fan of the wigger. Not a big fan of the wigger culture, and he kind of is like the embodiment of that. So, not a huge fan, but I understand. It's kind of the lay of the land. Thank you for the kind words, Black Coffee. Thank you. I'm glad you like the optics. Yeah, I think it's pretty easy for a lot of people to... A lot of very entry level, a lot of people can kind of start to get red pilled over here. That's kind of my goal, so I'm glad you think I'm succeeding. I appreciate it. Boy. See, it's kind of like wigger rap. You know, there's not really too much of a melody. He's kind of just talking into the mic. And it's just kind of low class. I don't really love it. I don't really love it. I hate to be a hater. You know, I like the cross on the chest and everything, but... My ideal Republican Party is, you know, Christ is King with crosses and well-dressed, well-groomed, serious individuals, not so much a Kid Rock concert, you know. Sue me, I guess. I know it's kind of weird hearing from the guy who's a stick figure wearing pit vipers, but, you know, call me crazy. That is what I would prefer. I will suffer through this for your guys' sake. Yeah, I'm getting the vibe this is like an original song. Like, did he make this? He mentioned the fight, fight, fight line. Like, did he make a song where it was that was a reference to the assassination? That's a pretty quick turnaround. He could just be riffing, though. I mean, who knows? I don't know enough. So if any of you guys are big Kid Rock fans, let me know. Did he drop the mic? Yeah, crossing an Indian peace sign. Very true. Very true. But we gotta... The RNC, man, you gotta take what you can get. It's never been good. That's what people don't realize. It's never been good. Everyone was outraged about the Indian prayer the other day, and they were right to be so, but they've been doing that. They had that in 2016 as well. You know, so it's not like it just got this way all of a sudden. It's good. I think it's actually a good thing seeing how much attention it's getting now versus...
All right, so you just watched that performance.
I'm going to turn this down here until Dana White comes on. But I think that it's a very positive that now we're getting a much more visceral reaction to, like, the Hindu Sikh prayers and the Jewish rhetoric and stuff like that. That wasn't even on the table in 2016. So despite how bad the optics are for the RNC, I understand they're really bad. But the only reason we're even noticing they're bad is because we're all red-pilled now. We're all red-pilled now. We all are able to understand these things. So we are moving in a good direction, I think. Okay, here comes Dana White. Here comes Dana White.
I am the CEO and president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
I do get a kick out of Dana. I'm a big Dana White supporter.
From President Trump asking me if I'd be willing to speak tonight. As usual, there was no pressure, no demands. He asked me as a friend, and of course I said yes. Then, after I accepted his offer, he sent me a text message, and I just want to read to you a little piece of what President Trump wrote to me. Dana, I'm so honored that you will be doing the introduction at the National Republican Convention. Think of it as the biggest fight you ever had, a fight for our country and even the world. I only wish you didn't have to interrupt your family trip, but I hope they understand they love you and they know how important this is. Now think about this. This man's running for president of the United States. He's fighting for the future of this country, and he's concerned about interrupting my family trip. That's the President Trump that I know. A man who truly cares about people. The mainstream media likes to push the narrative that he doesn't care about anyone but himself. I absolutely know that's not the truth, because I've been friends with this guy for 25 years. And for the people who know me, they'll know this is true. I just want to make something very clear. Nobody in the Trump campaign has ever told me what to say. Nobody tells me what to say, and I'm nobody's puppet.
Oh, this is classic Dana. Oh, that's classic Dana.
And I'm not telling you what to think. I'm telling you what I know. And I know President Trump.
Give it to him.
I know President Trump is a fighter. I've been saying this since 2015. Now look at what's happened over the last 10 years. We have all seen it with our own eyes. I'm in the tough guy business, and this man is the toughest, most resilient human being that I've ever met in my life.
Huge praise coming from Dana White. Huge praise. Conor McGregor is kicking and screaming right now.
And this guy never, ever gives up. So what's at stake here? The answer is in President Trump's text, and I quote, "A fight for our country." I know why he's running for president again. Why else would he put himself through everything he's dealt with just to get back here? We all know he doesn't need this. This guy's got a great life. He has a beautiful family, and he has achieved everything that you could possibly achieve in life. I know President Trump is literally putting his life on the line for something bigger than himself.
Hey, Black Coffee, we can't be black-pilling, though. I get what you're saying, but we can't be black-pilling. Gotta have a little positivity here.
And I know he wants what's best for the American people. All American people. I know he's running for president to save our American dream. I'm living the American dream, and I know the American dream is very real. Whether you were born in this country or came here from someplace else, this is the last real land of opportunity.
Yeah, except we don't. If you came from someplace else, please go home.
Government's first duty is to protect the people, not run their lives. And if you're buried in government red tape, how will you ever start your own business? If you're struggling to pay your bills, how can you ever afford to start a family? And if you don't feel safe in your own town, why would you ever buy a house? I know that President Trump is fighting to save the American dream, and that's what's at stake in this election.
Yeah, I know, it's all Jewish, but that's the name of the game. The Republican Party is not yet conquered. Always remember this.
President Trump is a proven leader, a fearless leader.
We will fix this. But until then, we got to suffer through the pandering.
In my mind, the choice is clear. But this election, we all get to choose. I know I'm going to choose strength and security. I know I'm going to choose opportunity and prosperity. I know I'm going to choose real American leadership and a real American badass. And I'm not telling you what choice to make, and I'm not telling you what to think. I'm telling you what I know. I know America needs a strong leader, and the world needs a strong America. I know Donald J. Trump is the best choice for President of the United States. My fellow Americans, it is my honor to introduce the 45th and soon to be
Here we go. Okay, guys.
President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Here he comes. Is he walking into 50 Cent? Is he walking into Many Men? 1 in chat if you think he is. 2 in chat if you don't think so. Okay, never mind. You lose. You lose. If you said 1, you lose. Unfortunately. I am interested to hear the speech, though. Again, he threw away his old speech. So this is entirely new, written after the assassination attempt, so I'm interested to see where he takes this. Forget this guy's name, but of course, he wrote the song Proud to be an American. Good stuff. Sorry, bumping the mic, my bad. My chair is still giving me issues. Ave Caesar, true. The American Caesar, Emperor Donald J. Trump, would you please take your throne? Scepter in hand, would you please take the stage? There he is, the man himself. We've been live for 2 hours now, right? Longest stream so far. W's for longest stream so far. All 5. I will say, I think they should have made the cotton on the ear, they should have made it somehow look a little cooler. I don't know how they would have done that, but I feel like they could have made it look a little bit more cool. Just kind of looks like it's taped on. It's probably more to heal his ear than make him look awesome, but a guy can dream, a guy can wish for more awesomeness. Good performance. Did a good job. All right, this is what we've been waiting for. Let's see how it goes. See what the Emperor has to say as he addresses his beloved supporters, his day ones.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Wow. And thank you, Dana. Thank you, Kid Rock, sometimes referred to as Bob.
We're starting off strong
and thank you,
already.
Lee, right from the beginning. Thank you very much. What a
First name
talent.
was
What a
Lee,
beautiful,
but I couldn't
beautiful
remember his
song.
last name,
Thank
so I
you.
didn't want to say anything and maybe dig myself a deeper hole.
Delegates and fellow citizens, I stand before you this evening with a message of confidence, strength, and hope. 4 months from now, we will have an incredible victory, and we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. Together, we will launch a new era of safety, prosperity, and freedom for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. The discord and division in our society must be healed. We must heal it quickly. As Americans, we are bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny. We rise together.
Let him cook.
Or we fall apart. I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America, because there is no victory in winning for half of America. So tonight, with faith and devotion, I proudly accept your nomination for President of the United States. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we will do it right. We're going to do it right. Let me begin this evening by expressing my gratitude to the American people for your outpouring of love and support following the assassination attempt at my rally on Saturday. As you already know, the assassin's bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life. So many people have asked me, what happened? Tell us what happened, please. And therefore, I will tell you exactly what happened, and you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell. It was a warm, beautiful day in the early evening in Butler Township in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Yep, Pennsylvania.
Music was loudly playing, and the campaign was doing really well. I went to the stage, and the crowd was cheering wildly. Everybody was happy. I began speaking very strongly, powerfully, and happily, because I was discussing the great job my administration did on immigration at the southern border. We were very proud of it. Behind me and to the right was a large screen that was displaying a chart of border crossings under my leadership. The numbers were absolutely amazing. In order to see the chart, I started to, like this, turn to my right and was ready to begin a little bit further turn, which I'm very lucky I didn't do, when I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard on my right ear. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. and moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place.
I'm loving the
immediately knew it
Trumpism
was
still.
very serious,
still
that we were under attack, and in one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they really did. They rushed to the stage. These are great people at great risk, I will tell you, and pounced on top of me so that I would be protected. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I felt very safe because I had God on my side. I felt that.
Lean into that, Donald. We're hoping he leans in. Oh, Laura Loomer on screen. Uh-oh. that was cat.
The amazing thing is that prior to the shot, if I had not moved my head at that very last instant, the assassin's bullet would have perfectly hit its mark, and I would not be here tonight. We would not be together. The most incredible aspect of what took place on that terrible evening in the fading sun was actually seen later. In almost all cases, as you probably know, and when even a single bullet is fired, just a single bullet, and we had many bullets that were being fired, crowds run for the exits or stampede, but not in this case. It's very unusual.
That is true. The poise of the crowd.
This massive crowd
incredible.
of tens of thousands of people stood by and didn't move an inch. In fact, many of them bravely but automatically stood up looking for where the sniper would be. They knew immediately it was a sniper, and then began pointing at him. You can see that if you look at the group behind me. That was just a small group compared to what was in front. Nobody ran, and by not stampeding, many lives were saved. But that isn't the reason that they didn't move. The reason is that they knew I was in very serious trouble. They saw it. They saw me go down. They saw the blood and thought, actually most did, that I was dead. They knew it was a shot to the head. They saw the blood. And there's an interesting statistic. The ears are the bloodiest part. If something happens with the ears, they bleed more than any other part of the body. For whatever reason, the doctors told me that. I said, why is there so much blood? He said, it's the ears. They bleed more. So we learned something. But
that's true. As a wrestler, I can confirm. Glad we're learning stuff. See, we're making it all educational.
Crowd, they didn't want to leave me. They knew I was in trouble. They didn't want to leave me. And you can see that love written all over their faces. Incredible people. They're incredible people. Bullets were flying over us, yet I felt serene. But now the Secret Service agents were putting themselves in peril. They were in very dangerous territory. Bullets were flying right over them, missing them by a very small amount of inches. And then it all stopped. Our Secret Service sniper, from a much greater distance and with only one bullet used, took the assassin's life, took him out. I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here. No.
Yes, Javier, we know Trump is a Zionist, not news. We get it.
But I'm not. And I'll tell you, I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God.
Here we go.
In watching the reports over the last few days, many people say it was a providential moment. Probably was. When I rose, surrounded by Secret Service, the crowd was confused because they thought I was dead, and there was great, great sorrow. I could see that on their faces as I looked out. They didn't know I was looking out. They thought it was over. But I could see it, and I wanted to do something to let them know I was okay. I raised my right arm, looked at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly waiting, and started shouting, "Fight, fight, fight."
Yeah, baby. Peace. That moment was incredible.
Thank you.
The optics were insane. That is an iconic image.
Fist went up, and it was high into the air. You've all seen that. The crowd realized I was okay and roared with pride for our country like no crowd I have ever heard before. Never heard anything like it. For the rest of my life, I will be grateful for the love shown by that giant audience of patriots that stood bravely on that fateful evening in Pennsylvania. Tragically, the shooter claimed the life of one of our fellow Americans, Corey Comparator. Unbelievable person, everybody tells me.
Peace.
Unbelievable.
A hero.
And seriously wounded. Two other great warriors. Spoke to them today. David Dutch and James Copenhaver. Two great people. I also spoke to all three families of these tremendous people. Our love and prayers are with them, and always will be. We're never going to forget them. They came for a great rally. They were serious Trumpsters, I want to tell you. They were serious Trumpsters, and still are. But Corey, unfortunately, we have to use the past tense. He was incredible. He was a highly respected former fire chief, respected by everybody. Was accompanied by his wife, Helen, incredible woman. I spoke to her today, devastated, and two precious daughters. He lost his life selflessly acting as a human shield to protect them from flying bullets. He went right over the top of them and was hit. What a fine man he was.
May God rest his soul. That really is such a tragedy. And you have to remember that they want that for all of us. That's why we need to win.
I want to thank the fire department and the family for sending his helmet, his outfit, and it was just something, and they're going to do something very special when they get it. But we did something which cannot match what happened, not even close. But I am very proud to say that over the past few days, we've raised $6.3 million for the families of David, James, and Corey, including from a friend of mine just called up. He sent me a check right here. I just got it. $1 million from Dan Newland. Thank you, Dan. And again, when speaking to the family, I told them, I said, well, I'm going to be sending you a lot of money, but it can't compensate. They all said the same thing. You're right, sir. We appreciate so much what you're doing, but nothing can take the place in the case of Corey. And the other two, by the way, they were very, very seriously injured, but now they're doing very well. They're going to be okay. They're going to be doing very well. They're warriors. So now I ask that we observe a moment of silence in honor of our friend Corey. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for others. This is the spirit that forged America in her darkest hours, and this is the love that will lead America back to the summit of human achievement and greatness. This is what we need. Despite such a heinous attack, we unite this evening more determined than ever. I am more determined than ever, and so are you. So is everybody in this room.
True. Dark MAGA activated.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Our resolve is unbroken and our purpose is unchanged to deliver a government that serves the American people better than ever before. Nothing will stop me in this mission because our vision is righteous and our cause is pure. No matter what obstacle comes our way, we will not break, we will not bend, we will not back down, and I will never stop fighting for you, your family, and our magnificent country. Never. And everything I have to give with all of the energy and fight in my heart and soul, I pledge to our nation tonight. Thank you very much. I pledge that to our nation. We're going to turn our nation around, and we're going to do it very quickly. Thank you. This election should be about the issues facing our country and how to make America successful, safe, free, and great again. In an age when our politics too often divide us, now is the time to remember that we are all fellow citizens. We are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we must not criminalize dissent or demonize political disagreement, which is what's been happening in our country lately at a level that nobody has ever seen before. In that spirit, the Democrat Party should immediately stop weaponizing the justice system and labeling their political opponent as an enemy of democracy. Especially since that is not true. In fact, I am the one saving democracy for the people of our country. And very big news, as you probably just read, on Monday, a major ruling was handed down from a highly respected federal judge in Florida, Eileen Cannon, finding that the prosecutor and the fake documents case against me were totally unconstitutional, and the entire case was thrown out of court. With all of that publicity, thrown out of court. If Democrats want to unify our country, they should drop these partisan witch hunts, which I have been going through for approximately 8 years. And they should do that without delay and allow an election to proceed that is worthy of our people. We're going to win it anyway, but worthy of our people. On this journey, I am deeply honored to be joined by my amazing wife, Melania.
The First Lady, W. Melania.
And Melania, thank you very much. You also did something really beautiful, a letter to America calling for national unity, and it really took the Republican Party by surprise. I will tell you, it was beautiful. In fact, some very serious people said that we should take that letter and put it as part of the Republican platform. That would be an honor, wouldn't it? Right, Mr. Congressman? But it captivated so many, so I also want to thank my entire family for being here. Don, Kimberly, Ivanka and Jared, Eric and Lara, Tiffany and Michael, Barron. We love our Barron.
Oh, Barron with the special call out.
And of course, my 10 wonderful grandchildren.
Toby.
You saw a few of them up there on my lap before. And how good was Dana? Was Dana good? I mean, you know, was he good? You know, he was on probably the only vacation he's had in about, maybe ever, because he works, but about 10 years with his wife, very far away. I won't tell you where, but very, very far away, beautiful place. And my people called, and he said, yeah, I won't be able to do it. This is many, many years. I promised my wife I can't do it. And they came in, they said, Dana won't be able to do it, because he was my first, second, and third choice. I said, well, you know, that's too bad, but I understand he's away, and it's good. It's good for him. And that was it. About 30 minutes later, she came back in, sir, Dana just called. He's going to do it. And his wife, she said, you can't turn him down. You just can't do it. You have to go. That's a good wife.
W is in chat for Dana White's wife. W's for Dana's wife. What a queen.
So he got on a plane. He got here a little while ago. Now he's going to get on the plane in a little while, and he's going to go back home to his wife. But they're great, and I just want to thank her and him and their whole family, because that's not easy. And Kid Rock, same thing. Called, he said, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part, because, you know, Kid does his great song, Big, Big Monster song. I had no idea. You know, he became a friend of mine over the last 10 years. And he's amazing. Everyone loves him. I didn't even know how big he was. You know, he has rallies, 35, 40,000 people he gets every time he goes out. I think he's making so much money, he doesn't know what the hell to do with it. You want to know? And then we have my other friend, and I've known him so long, and we took that song, and it was a big success, but we made that. I saw a chart of great songs to America. That was #1 on the chart recently, #1. So that's Lee Greenwood, a very special, beautiful person. He's a beautiful man. But they all wanted to be here. They called. And how about the Hulkster? How good was he? Is he up? Where is he? Boy, oh boy. You know, they may call that entertainment. I know about entertainment, but when he used to lift a 350-pound man over his shoulders and then bench press him 2 rows into the audience, I say maybe entertainment, but he is one strong son of a gun. I will tell you, I watched it many times. There aren't a lot of entertainers that can do that, right? You were fantastic. Thank you very much. Followed by Eric. What was that all about? Boy, that was good. I didn't want to really come up here. But he was so great, and he's such a good young man. He went through a lot of trouble, and Don last night was incredible. They went through so much trouble. They got subpoenaed more than any people probably in the history of the United States. Every week they get another subpoena from the Democrats, crazy Nancy Pelosi, the whole thing, just boom, boom, boom. They've got to stop that because they're destroying our country. We have to work on making America great again, not on beating people. And we won. We beat them in all. We beat them on the impeachments. We beat them on indictments. We beat them. But the time that you have to spend, if they would devote that genius to helping our country, we'd have a much stronger and better country.
He's really going for the unity angle, you know. I'm not so sure about that, but we're letting him cook.
Star in country music, Jason, thank you for being here. Jason, thank you very much. Jason Aldean, he's good. I like his wife even better, by the way. She's here. Thank you, Jason. But I'm thrilled to have a new friend and partner fighting by my side. The next Vice President of the United States, the current Senator from Ohio, J.D. Vance, and his incredible wife, Usha.
Oh, boy. There he is, Indian wife and all. It is what it is, gang. We gotta play the hand we've been dealt.
He's going to be a great Vice President. He's going to be great. He'll be with this country and with this movement, greatest movement in the history of our country. Make America great again. When they criticize it, they say, we're going to try and stop MAGA. I said, MAGA is making America great again. What are you going to stop? There's nothing to stop. Then they say, oh, that's right. It's very tough to fight it. And all of the people that did try and fight it have failed. But he's going to be with us for a long time, and it was an honor to select him. Great student at Yale. His wife was a great student at Yale. They met at Yale. These are two smart people.
Right now, they're setting him up.
So, J.D., you're going to be doing this for a long time. Enjoy
you can't tell
the
what's
ride.
happening. They are setting him up for 2028. They are setting him up to be the presidential nominee right now.
And a very special
we
thank
can discuss
you
that
to
at a
the
later
extraordinary
date.
people of Milwaukee and the great state of... Oh, there they are. There they are. You are so easy to spot. And Green Bay's going to have a good team this year, right? They're going to have a good team. They're going to have a good team. Most of the audience doesn't like it, but it's true. You're going to have a very good team this year. And by the way, Wisconsin, we are spending over $250 million here, creating jobs and other economic development all over the place. So I hope you will remember this in November and give us your vote. I am trying to buy your vote. I'll be honest about that.
The media is going to have a field day with that line.
And I promise we will make Wisconsin great again. We're going to make it.
Mawa. Everybody type Mawa
Mr.
in
Governor,
chat.
thank you very much. Thank you. I'm here tonight to lay out a vision for the whole nation, to every citizen, whether you're a young or old man or woman, Democrat, Republican, or independent, black or white, Asian or Hispanic. I extend to you a hand of loyalty and of friendship. Together we will lead America to new heights of greatness like the world has never seen before. We were right there in the first term. We got hit with COVID. We did a great job. Nobody knew what it was, but nobody's ever seen an economy pre-COVID. And then we handed over a stock market that was substantially higher than just prior to COVID. Coming in, did a great job. Never got credit for that. We got credit for the war and defeating ISIS and so many things, the great economy, the biggest tax cuts ever, the biggest regulation cuts ever, the creation of Space Force, the rebuilding of our military. We did so much. We did so much. Right to try. Right to try is a big deal. We got right to try. They were trying to get that for 52 years. Somebody's terminally ill. And hopefully there's nobody in this audience, but it does happen a lot. They're terminally ill and they can't use our new space-age drugs and other things that we are way ahead. We have the greatest doctors in the world, the greatest laboratories in the world, and you can't do it. They've been trying to get that approved for 52 years. Wasn't that easy? The insurance companies didn't want to do it. They didn't want the risk. The labs didn't want to do it because if it didn't work, people are pretty far down the line toward death. They didn't want to do it. The doctors didn't want to have it on their records, so I got everybody into an office. 52 years they tried. Sounds simple, but it's not. And I got them to agree that somebody that needs it will, instead of going to Asia, Europe, or someplace, or if you have no money going home and dying, just die. We got them to sign an agreement, agree to it, where they're not going to sue anybody. They're going to get all of this stuff. They're going to get it really fast. And what's happened is we're saving thousands and thousands of lives. It's incredible. Right to try. It's a great feeling. Under our leadership, the United States will be respected again. No nation will question our power. No enemy will doubt our might. Our borders will be totally secure. Our economy will soar. We will return law and order to our streets, patriotism to our schools, and importantly, we will restore peace, stability, and harmony all throughout the world. But to achieve this future, we must first rescue our nation from failed and even incompetent leadership. We have totally incompetent leadership. This will be the most important election in the history of our country. Under the current administration, we are indeed a nation in decline. We have an inflation crisis that is making life unaffordable, ravaging the incomes of working and low-income families, and crushing.
Gotta say, it's kind of disappointing to just hear run-of-the-mill platform stuff. I was really hoping for
immigration
something a little more revolutionary.
Taking place right now as we sit here in this beautiful.
Of course, we still love
arena.
Mr. President.
It's a massive invasion at our southern border that has spread misery, crime, poverty, disease, and destruction to
I was really hoping for some
all across our land. Nobody's ever seen anything like it.
A speech to match the occasion,
crisis,
to match
the likes of which
the time
the world
we are in.
has seldom been part of. Nobody can believe what's happening. War is now raging in Europe and the Middle East. A growing specter of conflict hangs over Taiwan, Korea, the Philippines, and all of Asia. And our planet is teetering on the edge of World War III. And this will be a war like no other war because of weaponry. The weapons are no longer army tanks going back and forth shooting at each other. These weapons are obliteration. It's time for a change. This administration can't come close to solving the problems. We're dealing with very tough, very fierce people. They're fierce people. And we don't have fierce people. We have people that are a lot less than fierce, except when it comes to cheating on elections and a couple of other things. Then they're fierce. Then they're fierce. So tonight, I make this pledge to the great people of America. I will end the devastating inflation crisis immediately, bring down interest rates, and lower the cost of energy. We will drill, baby, drill.
I never understood people getting so incensed over drill, baby, drill. You know, like I'm all for, you know, increasing our drilling and stuff like that, but I've never understood why that gets people like so incensed, and similarly to build that wall. I've never gotten that.
But by doing that, we will lead a large-scale decline in prices. Prices will start to come down. Energy raised it. They took our energy policies and destroyed them. Then they immediately went back to them, but by that time, so much was lost. But we will do it at levels that nobody's ever seen before, and we'll end lots of different things. We'll start paying off debt and start lowering taxes even further. We gave you the largest tax cut. We'll do it more. You know, people don't realize I brought taxes way down, way down, and yet we took in more revenues the following year than we did when the tax rate was much higher. Most people said, how did you do that? Because it was incentive. Everybody was coming to the country. They were bringing back billions and billions of dollars into our country. The companies made it impossible to bring it back. The tax rate was too high, and the legal complications were far too great. I changed both of them, and hundreds of billions of dollars by Apple and so many other companies were brought back into our nation.
Really,
we had an economy
really
the likes of which nobody, no nation had ever seen. China, we were beating them,
you know,
at levels that were incredible.
I think a lot of people were really expecting a monumental.
They know it. We'll do it again.
Crossing
we'll
of the
do it
Rubicon type.
I will end the illegal immigration crisis by closing our border and finishing
just kind of not getting that right now, unfortunately.
Most of which I've already built.
I know, at least that's what I was hoping for. I don't know about you guys. But start dropping any questions in chat or anything. I'm gonna, once this wraps up, I'm gonna give my final thoughts, and then I'm gonna read your chats, and then I'm gonna get out of here.
Almost $800 billion. I said, I'm going to take a little of that money because this is an invasion, and we built, most of the wall is already built, and we built it through using the funds because what's better than that? We have to stop the invasion into our country that's killing hundreds of thousands of people a year. We're not going to let that happen.
Let's see, that's rhetoric we like. I don't want to hear about.
I will end every single international crisis that the current administration has created, including the horrible war with Russia and Ukraine, which would have never happened if I was president, and the war caused by the attack on Israel, which would have never happened if I was president. Iran was broke. Iran had no money. Now Iran has $250 billion. They made it all over the last 2.5 years. They were broke. I watched the other day on a show called Deface the Nation. Has anyone seen it? And they had a congressman who was a Democrat say, well, whether you like him or not, Iran was broke dealing with Trump. I told China and other countries, if you buy from Iran, we will not let you do any business in this country, and we will put tariffs on every product you do send in of 100% or more. And they said to me, well, I think that's about it. They weren't going to buy any oil. And they were ready to make a deal. Iran was going to make a deal with us. And then we had that horrible, horrible result that we'll never let happen again. The election result, we're never going to let that happen again. They used COVID to cheat. We're never going to let it happen again. And they took off all the sanctions, and they did everything possible for Iran. And now Iran is very close to having a nuclear weapon, which would have never happened. This is a shame what this administration, the damage that this administration has done. And I say it often, if you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States, think of it, the 10 worst, added them up, they will not have done the damage that Biden has done. Only going to use the term once. Biden. I'm not going to use the name anymore, just one time. The damage that he's done to this country is unthinkable. It's unthinkable. Together we will restore vision, strength, competence, and we're going to have a thing called common sense making most of our decisions, actually. It's all common sense. Just a few short years ago, under my presidency, we had the most secure border and best economy in the history of our country, in the history of the world. We had the greatest economy in the history of the world. We had never done anything like it. We were beating every country, including China, by leaps and bounds. Nobody had seen anything like it. We had no inflation, soaring incomes were going. Nobody can believe it. You can't believe what happened 4 years ago is happening now in reverse. And the world was at peace. Inflation has been a killer for our country. No matter what you make it doesn't matter because inflation is eating you alive. People that were putting away money, they were making great wages, the highest they've ever made, but they were putting away a lot of money. Now they are just being destroyed. They're not putting away anything. They're barely living. They're going into savings accounts. They're taking out their money to live because of inflation. Inflation, remember, it's called a country buster. You can go back to Germany from 100 years ago. You can go back to any country that suffered great inflation. We've suffered the worst inflation we've ever had.
Weimar Germany mentioned
to those countries. We've had the worst inflation we've ever had under this person.
Mentioning Weimar
But in less
Germany.
than 4 years, our opponents have turned incredible success into unparalleled tragedy and failure. It's been a tremendous failure. Today, our cities are flooded with illegal aliens. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force and their jobs are taken. And by the way, you know who's taking the jobs that are created? 107% of those jobs are taken by illegal aliens. And you know who's being hurt the most by millions of people pouring into our country? The black population and the Hispanic population, because they're taking the jobs from our black population, our Hispanic population, and they're also taking them from unions. The unions are suffering because of it.
Not a fan of that rhetoric.
Thank you. Thank you. I like you too. Thank you very much. Inflation has wiped out the life savings of our citizens and forced the middle class into a state of depression and despair. That's what it is. It's despair and depression. We cannot and will not let this continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. We're going to be a great nation again. Thank you. With proper leadership, every disaster we are now enduring will be fixed, and it will be fixed very, very quickly. So tonight, whether you've supported me in the past or not, I hope you will support me in the future, because I will bring back the American dream. That's what we're going to do. You don't even hear about the American dream anymore. With great humility, I am asking you to be excited about the future of our country. Be excited. Be excited. And by the way, the news reports, look at all of those big networks. Look at them. They're all here. But every one of them has said this could be the most organized, best run, and most enthusiastic convention of either party that they've ever seen. Every single one. And it's true. It's true. And there's love in the room. There's great love in the room.
Love speech, baby.
So I better finish strong. Otherwise, we'll blow it. And we can't let that happen. Now, this was great. All of the great people that spoke, and everybody hit a home run. I mean, there's not one that I can think of where I said, oh, gee, that wasn't great. Every single person. I refuse to be the only one. Don't do that to me. They're already getting ready. See, I gave them an idea. Now, this was a great convention. This was, I think we're actually going to go home and miss it. You know, usually with a first of all, look at these crowds. You'd never have this at a convention. Look at these crowds.
I really am hoping for a strong finish
love.
Here.
It's about love.
Started off strong. I'm hoping
the entire Republican Party has formally adopted an agenda for America's renewal, and you saw that agenda. And it's very short compared to the long, boring, meaningless agendas of the past, including the Democrats. They write these things that are hundreds of pages long, and they never read them after they're done. In their case, fortunately, they don't read them because they're pretty bad. It's a series of bold promises that we will swiftly implement when you give us a Republican House. And Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. We have our great Speaker of the House with us tonight, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much. Thank you. A Republican Senate, we have many senators here. And send me back to our beautiful White House just a few short months from now. We're talking about just months. It can't come fast enough. We have to get it done. First, we must get economic relief
still
to our
just JD
citizens.
Vance.
Starting on day one, we will drive down prices and make America affordable again.
Come on,
you have to make it
Fox.
affordable. It's not affordable.
Come on, Fox. I'm trying to do a professional show here. You're making me look silly.
Under this administration,
making me look ridiculous
our
and not to
current
be taken
administration,
seriously.
groceries are up
Unbelievable.
57%, gasoline is up 60 and 70%, mortgage
Unbelievable.
rates have quadrupled. And the fact is, it doesn't matter what they are because you can't get the money anyway. Can't buy houses. Young people can't get any financing to buy a house. The total household costs have increased an average of $28,000 per family under this administration. Republicans have a plan to bring down prices and bring them down very, very rapidly. By slashing energy costs, we will in turn reduce the cost of transportation, manufacturing, and all household goods. So much starts with energy. And remember, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country by far. We are a nation that has the opportunity to make an absolute fortune with its energy. We have it, and China doesn't. Under the Trump administration, just 3.5 years ago, we were energy independent. But soon, we will actually be better than that. We will be energy dominant and supply not only ourselves, but we will supply the rest of the world with numbers that nobody has ever seen, and we will reduce our debt, $36 trillion. We will start reducing that, and we will also reduce your taxes still further. Next, and by the way, they want to raise your taxes 4 times, think of it. And all my life, I grew up watching politicians. I always loved politics. I guess I was on the other side. I'd watch and they were always talking about, we will give you a tax cut. We will give you a tax cut. My whole life I was watching, I will give you a tax cut, right, Mr. Congressman? That's all they talked about. This is the only administration that said, we're going to raise your taxes by 4 times what you're paying now, and people are supposed to vote for them? I've never heard it. You're paying too much. We're going to reduce your taxes still further. We gave you the biggest one, as I said. We're going to give you more, and it's going to lead to tremendous growth. We want growth in our country. That's what's going to pay off our debt. And next, we will end the ridiculous and actually incredible waste of taxpayer dollars that is fueling the inflation crisis. They spent trillions of dollars on things having to do with the Green New Scam. It's a scam. And that's caused tremendous inflationary pressures in addition to the cost of energy.
I feel like that's not even a
And all of the
line.
trillions of dollars that are sitting there, not yet spent, we will redirect that money for important projects like roads, bridges, dams, and we will not allow it to be spent on meaningless Green New Scam ideas. And I will end the electric vehicle mandate on day one. Thereby saving the U.S. auto industry from complete obliteration, which is happening right now, and saving U.S. customers thousands and thousands of dollars per car. And right now, as we speak, large factories just started are being built across the border in Mexico. So with all the other things happening on our border, and they're being built by China to make cars and to sell them into our country. No tax, no anything. The United Auto Workers ought to be ashamed for allowing this to happen. And the leader of the United Auto Workers should be fired immediately. And every single auto worker, union and non-union, should be voting for Donald Trump, because we're going to bring back car manufacturing, and we're going to bring it back fast. They're building some of the largest auto plants anywhere in the world. Think of it, in the world. We're going to bring it back. We're going to make them. We don't mind that happening, but those plants are going to be built in the United States, and our people are going to man those plants. And if they don't agree with us, we'll put a tariff of approximately 100 to 200% on each car, and they will be unsellable in the United States.
That's what we like.
We have long been taken advantage of by other countries. And think of it, oftentimes these other countries are considered so-called allies. They've taken advantage of us for years. We lose jobs, we lose revenue, and they gain everything and wipe out our businesses, wipe out our people. I stopped it for 4 years. I stopped it, and we're really ready to make changes like nobody had seen before. And remember, USMCA, I got rid of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with USMCA, which is, they say, the best trade deal ever made. Actually, probably the best trade deal was the deal I made with China, where they buy $50 billion worth of our product. They were buying nothing. They buy $50 billion worth. They had to. But I don't even talk about it because of COVID. I don't even mention it, frankly, because of what happened with the China virus.
The China virus. I've missed hearing that.
We will not let countries come in.
Those were the days.
Take our
Not
jobs
really, but
and
you know what I'm
plunder
saying.
our nation. They come and do that. They plunder our nation. The way they will sell their product in America is to build it in America. Very simple. Build it in America and only in America. And this very simple formula, and Congress has to go along with us, and they will. This very simple formula will create massive numbers of jobs. We will take over the auto industry again, and many, many, hundreds of thousands of jobs. We lost so many jobs over the years. If you go back 20, 25 years, they've stolen, going to China and Mexico, about 68% of our auto industry manufacturing jobs. We're going to get them all back. We're going to get them all back, every one of them. At the center of our plan for economic relief are massive tax cuts for workers that include something else that's turned out to be very popular, actually. Here it's very popular, in this building and all those hotels that I saw that are so nice. I'm staying in a nice one. It's called no tax on tips. No tax on tips. No tax on tips. I got that by having dinner recently in Nevada, where we're leading by about 14 points. Hello. I'll see you there very soon, everybody. And we're having dinner at a beautiful restaurant in the Trump building on the Strip, and it's a great building, and the waitress comes over. How's everything going? A really nice person. How's everything? Oh, sir, it's so tough. The government's after me all the time on tips, tips, tips. I said, well, they give you cash. Would they be able to find him? She said, actually, and I didn't know this, she said, very little cash is given. It's all put right on the check. And they come in and they take so much of our money, it's just ridiculous. And they don't believe anything we say. And they've just hired, as you know, 88,000 agents to go after him even more. And I said, this shows the level of my, most people go out, they hire consultants, they pay millions of dollars. But I said to her, let me just ask you a question. Would you be happy if you had no tax on tips? She said, what a great idea. I got my information from a very smart waitress. That's better than spending millions of dollars. And everybody loves it. Waitresses and caddies and drivers.
It's so very popular.
Everybody's a large group of people that are being really hurt badly. They make money. Let them keep their money. I'm going to protect Social Security and Medicare. Democrats are going to destroy Social Security and Medicare because all of these people, by the millions they're coming in, they're going to be on Social Security and Medicare and other things, and you're not able to afford it. They are destroying your Social Security and your Medicare. Under my plan, incomes will skyrocket, inflation will vanish completely, jobs will come roaring back, and the middle class will prosper like never, ever before, and we're going to do it very rapidly. But no hope or dream we have for America can succeed unless we stop the illegal immigrant invasion, the worst that's ever been seen anywhere in the world. There's never been an invasion like this anywhere. Third world countries would fight with sticks and stones not to let this happen. The invasion at our southern border, we will stop it, and we will stop it quickly. You heard Tom Homan yesterday. Tom Homan, put him in charge and just sit back and watch. Brandon Judd, the Border Patrol, he's incredible. These guys, you know, they really, their job is a lot easier if they don't have to do anything, but they want to. They're patriots. Brandon Judd, Border Patrol, ICE. ICE goes out. You have to see what ICE does with MS-13. You have these are probably the worst gang, and ICE goes in there. And I know a lot of people on these rows here, and they're very tough people, but they don't want to do this job. They'll go into a pack of MS-13 killers. They're the worst, probably the worst gangs in the world. We have thousands of them. I moved thousands and thousands out in my 4 years. We moved them out, and it was a pleasure. But ICE would go right into a pack of these killers, and you see fists flying, you see everything flying, and then they take them. They put them in a paddy wagon. They take them back, and they get them out of our country. And the other countries weren't accepting them back, and I called up, and I said, tell them that we're not giving them economic aid anymore. And the next day, I got calls from all of these countries that were terminated. Billions of dollars we spend on economic aid to countries that does us, frankly, no good. And the next day, I was called by everybody. I couldn't take all the calls. Sir, what's the problem? I said, you won't take your killers back that you sent in caravans into America. You won't take them back. Well, sir, if you'd like us to, we would give very serious consideration to doing that. And within 24 hours, they were being taken back. For years and years, when I first came in, they said President Obama tried to get him to go back, and they wouldn't accept him. They'd put planes on the runway so you couldn't lead the plane. They'd close the road so you couldn't take the buses. They'd all have to turn back. As soon as I said no more economic aid of any kind to any country that does that, they called back and they said, sir, it would be our great honor to take MS-13. We love them very much. We love them very much, sir. We'll take them back. At the heart of the Republican platform is our pledge to end this border nightmare and fully restore the sacred and sovereign borders of the United States of America, and we're going to do that on day one. That means two things on day one, right? Drill, baby, drill, and close our borders. And by the way, and I think everybody as a Republican, as a patriot in this room, and most Democrats, we want people to come into our country, but they have to come into our country legally.
We don't want people to come into our country, actually. There's already way too many. Less than 4 years
ago, I handed this administration the strongest border in American history.
Do not
But you can see
we want no immigration. We don't
want.
want
That was the chart that saved my life. I said,
immigration
look, so
long as it's legal. We want no immigration. Period.
It was done by the Border Patrol. One of the greatest charts I've ever seen. It showed everything just like that. You know the chart. Oh, there it is. That's pretty good. Wow. Last time I put up that chart, I never really got to look at it. But without that chart, I would not be here today. Never got to look at it. I said, you got to see this chart. I was so proud of it, and by the time I got to there, I never got to see it that day. But I'm seeing it now, and I was very proud. If you look at the arrow in the bottom, that's the lowest level, the one on the bottom, heavy red arrow. That's the lowest level of illegal immigrants ever to come into our country in recorded history, right there. Right there. And that was my last week in office. And then you see what happened after I left. Look at the rest. And if you go out a little bit further, it's getting to be a little bit old, but I love it anyway, right? But you can go much higher with those numbers. Look what happened right after that. The invasion began. We had the opposite. We stopped the invasion. But the invasion that we stopped was peanuts by comparison to what happened after I left. Look at what happened after I left. They took over our country. We ended all catch and release. We shut down asylum fraud. We stopped human trafficking and forged historic agreements to keep illegal aliens on foreign soil. We want them to stay on their soil. Under the Trump administration, if you came in illegally, you were apprehended immediately and you were deported. You went right back. The current administration terminated every single one of those great Trump policies that I put in place to seal the border. I wanted a sealed border. Again, come in, but come in legally. You know how unfair it is? So many people, hundreds of thousands of people, have been working for years to come into our country. And now they see these people pour into our country at levels that are unprecedented. It's so unfair.
Send them
we're
all
not
back.
going to do it. We're not going to stand for it. They suspended
send them all back.
wall construction, ended remain in Mexico. We had a policy, remain in Mexico. You think that was easy to get from the Mexican government? But I said, you must give it to us. If you don't give it to us, there will be repercussions, and they gave it to us. But not easy. Canceled our Safe Third agreements, demolished Title 42, implemented nationwide catch and release. That's catch and release, where we catch them and release them into our country. We catch them and release them into Mexico. There's a slight difference. And took 93, this is the previous administration, 93 executive actions to throw open our border to the world. The entire world is pouring into our country because of this very foolish administration. The greatest invasion in history is taking place right here in our country. They are coming in from every corner of the earth, not just from South America, but from Africa, Asia, the Middle East. They're coming from everywhere. They're coming at levels that we've never seen before. It is an invasion indeed, and this administration does absolutely nothing to stop them. They're coming from prisons. They're coming from jails. They're coming from mental institutions and insane asylums. You know, the press is always on me because I say this. Has anyone seen Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He'd love to have you for dinner.
Did he just say the late, great Hannibal Lecter?
That's insane asylums. They're emptying out their insane asylums. And terrorists are coming in at numbers that we've never seen before.
That was funny.
Bad things are going to happen. Meanwhile, our crime rate is going up, while crime statistics all over the world are going down, because they're taking their criminals and they're putting them into our country.
Hannibal Lecter.
A certain country, and I happen to
like. Love to have you for dinner, folks. He'd love it. He'd love to have you for dinner.
He's been getting great publicity because he's a wonderful shepherd of the country. He says how well the country's doing because their crime rate is down. And he said he's training all of these rough people. They're rough. He's training them. And I've been reading about
7
this
minutes
for 2
into
years.
hour
I think,
3.
oh, that's wonderful. Let's take a look at it. But then I realized he's not training them. He's sending all of his criminals, his drug dealers, his people that are in jail.
But we persist
he's sending them all
for the
to
content.
The United States. And he's different.
We love the content, don't we, folks?
He's trying to convince everybody what a wonderful job he does in running the country. Well, he doesn't do a wonderful job. And by the way, if I ran one of the countries, many countries from all over, I would be worse than any of them. I would have had the place totally emptied out already. But we become a dumping ground for the rest of the world, which is laughing at us. They think we're stupid. And they can't believe that they're getting away with what they're getting away with, but they're not going to be getting away with it for long. That's what I can tell you. In Venezuela, Caracas, high crime. Caracas, Venezuela, really a dangerous place, but not anymore. Because in Venezuela, crime is down 72%. In fact, if they would ever win this election, I hate to even say that, we will have our next Republican convention in Venezuela because it will be safe. Our cities will be so unsafe, we won't be able. We will not be able to have it there. In El Salvador, murders are down by 70%. Why are they down? Now, he would have you convinced that because he's trained murderers to be wonderful people. No. They're down because they're sending their murderers to the United States of America. This is going to be very bad. And bad things are going to happen, and you're seeing it happen all the time. That's why, to keep our families safe, the Republican platform promises to launch the largest deportation operation in the history of our country. Even larger than that of President Dwight D. Eisenhower from many years ago. You know, he was a moderate, but he believed very strongly in borders. He had the largest deportation
I gotta say, it is good to
had.
see how animated the crowd gets about mass
Jocelyn,
deportations.
Nungary, a wonderful
you can,
woman.
you know, you can debate about whether or not we're actually
girl
going to
from
get
Houston
those deportations, but
last month was
just
tied
showing
up,
that the will of the
assaulted,
people
and strangled to
is
death after walking to
very
a
much in favor of the
convenience
mass
store just
immigrations.
a block
That
away
is
from her
huge.
house.
That's huge.
Her
We need to
body was dumped
capitalize
near
on
the
that.
side of the road in a shallow creek, found by some onlookers who couldn't believe what they had witnessed. Charged with Jocelyn's heinous murder are 2 illegal aliens from Venezuela who came across our border, were in custody, and were then released into the country by this horrible, horrible administration that we have right now. I also met recently with the heartbroken mother and sister of Rachel Morin. Rachel was a 37-year-old mom of 5 beautiful children who was brutally raped and murdered while out on a run. She wanted to keep herself in good shape. It was very important to her. She was murdered. The monster responsible first killed another woman in El Salvador before he was led into America by the White House. This White House let them in. He then attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother in a home invasion in Los Angeles before murdering Rachel in Maryland. Traveled all throughout the country, doing tremendous damage. Rachel's mother will never be the same. I spent time with her. She will never be the same. I've also met with the wonderful family of Laken Riley, the brilliant 22-year-old nursing student. She was so proud of being first in her class, who was out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia when she was assaulted, beaten, and horrifically killed. Yet another American life was stolen by a criminal alien set free by this administration. And these were incredible people we're talking about. These were incredible people who died. Tonight, America, this is my vow. I will not let these killers and criminals into our country. I will keep our sons and daughters safe. As we bring security to our streets, we will help bring stability to the world. I was the first president in modern times to start no new wars. You know, we were the toughest, we were the most respected. And you saw
loomed
this
again.
hungry, strong country run by a very powerful,
totally
tough
loomed.
leader, tough guy. Press doesn't like him because he's tough.
Unreal. Unreal.
And, he came out recently. They were asking him at an interview, the whole world is exploding. What's happening? What's going on? Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, very tough man. He said, I don't want people coming into my country and blowing up our shopping centers and killing people. But they said to him,
Sorry,
tell
I'm
us
not
what's
that
going
animated,
on, what's
guys.
happening.
I just,
What is
there's
it?
not
He
too
said,
much
there's
to
only
say.
one way you're
This
going to
is kind
solve
of
it.
a
You got to bring President Trump back to the United States because he kept everybody at bay.
I know, he's got to go over the
He used a
platform.
word
I know it's
I
the
wouldn't
RNC,
use because I
I
can't use
get
that
it
word.
to an extent, but
Because
to
you'd
an
say it
extent
was
I don't.
braggadocious, the
We'll
press would
talk
say
about
he was a
that in a little
braggart.
bit,
I'm not
I
a
think.
braggart. But Viktor Orban said it. He said Russia was afraid of him. China was afraid of him. Everybody was afraid of him. Nothing was going to happen. The whole world was at peace. And now the world is blowing up around us. All of these things that you read about were not going to happen. Under President Bush, Russia invaded Georgia. Under President Obama, Russia took Crimea. Under the current administration, Russia is after all of Ukraine. Under President Trump, Russia took nothing. We defeated 100% of ISIS in Syria and Iraq, something that was said to take 5 years, sir. It'll take 5 years, sir. We did it in a matter of a couple of months. We have a great military. Our military is not woke. It's just some of the fools on top that are woke. I got along very well. North Korea, Kim Jong-un, I got along very well with him. The press hated when I said that. How could you get along with him? Well, you know, it's nice to get along with somebody who has a lot of nuclear weapons or otherwise, isn't it? See, in the old days, they'd say, that's a wonderful thing. Now they say, how can you possibly do that? But no, I got along with them, and we stopped the missile launches from North Korea. Now North Korea is acting up again, but when we get back, I get along with him. He'd like to see me back, too. I think he misses me, if you want to know the truth. Our opponents inherited a world at peace and turned it into a planet of war. We're in a planet of war. Look at that attack on Israel. Look at what's happening with Ukraine. The cities are just bombed out. How can people live like that where buildings, massive buildings, are falling to the ground? It began to unravel with the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, the worst humiliation in the history of our country. We have never had a humiliation like that. 13 heroic U.S. service members were tragically and needlessly killed. 45 others were horrifically wounded. Nobody ever talks about them. No arms, no legs, face explosions, horrifically wounded. And by the way, we have a man in this room who's running for the U.S. Senate from a great state, Nevada, named Sam Brown, who paid the ultimate price. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. He paid the biggest price probably ever paid by anybody that is running for office, and I think he's going to do great. He's running against a person that is not good, not respected, a total lightweight. But Sam, I think, paid, really, we were talking about it with some of the senators that are working so hard for Sam, but he paid the biggest price of any senator ever to run for the Senate. I don't think anybody's ever what he did. He was a real hero, a really great person. And he's running, and I hope that everybody gets out and votes for Sam Brown. And we also left behind $85 billion worth of military equipment, along with many American citizens were left behind. Many American citizens, emboldened by that disaster, Russia invaded Ukraine. They saw this group of people that were incompetent. We took the soldiers out first. No, we're going to take the soldiers out second. If they would have followed my plan, we had a great plan. But the plan only kicked in if they did everything perfectly.
I'm sorry
and they weren't doing things perfectly,
lack
so we
of
said
reaction
it doesn't
here. I was
kick
expecting.
in. You know, 18 months in Afghanistan.
Gotta be honest, I was
We
expecting
didn't have
more.
one, so they were killing them left and right.
Not
snipers.
really too much to react to here.
I spoke to the head of the Taliban.
You've
heard this story.
My all.
Abdul,
here.
still there, still the head of the Taliban. The press got on me. Why would you speak to him? I said, because that's where the killing is. I don't have to speak to somebody that has nothing to do with it. And I told him, don't ever do that. Don't ever do that again. Don't ever, ever do that again. You've got to stop. Because during the Obama administration, many great people and soldiers, but a lot of soldiers were being killed from long distance. I said, if you keep doing that, you're going to be hit harder than anybody's ever been hit by a country before. And he said, I understand, Your Excellency. He called me Your Excellency. I wonder if he calls the other guy Your Excellency. I doubt it. The other guy gave him everything. I mean, what kind of a deal was that? He walked out, gave him everything. Do you know that right now Afghanistan is one of the largest sellers of weapons in the world? They're selling the brand new, beautiful weapons that we
Jake. I
gave them. But think of it. He actually said to me, but why do you...
I'm hurting here, ma'am.
Show me a picture of my home. I said, you'll have to ask your people or one of your wives. But he could figure it out. And for 18
I wonder if you're right about
we had not one attack on an
American
American soldier by the Taliban.
Reference.
18 months.
I do wonder if any of them are even smart enough to pick up on that. We shall see.
And then we had that horrible day where soldiers were killed. I was not there because of a ridiculous election. But we had that horrible attack. And they also gave up Bagram, one of the biggest bases anywhere in the world, air bases anywhere in the world, the longest runways, most powerful, hardened, thickened runways. We gave it up. And I liked it, not because of Afghanistan. I liked it because of China. It's 1 hour away from where China makes their nuclear weapons. And you know who has it now? China has it now. We were keeping that. And now China is likewise circling Taiwan, and Russian warships and nuclear submarines are operating 60 miles off the coast in Cuba. Do you know that? No, the press refuses to write about it. If that were me running this country and we had nuclear submarines in Cuba, I will tell you that headlines every day would be, what's wrong with our president? You don't even hear this. You're not hearing about this. Russia has nuclear submarines and warships 60 miles away, Mr. Congressman, from Miami, by the way, happens to be here. Correct? In Cuba. And that would not be stood for if it were somebody else. They don't want to mention it, but now maybe they will. And the entire world, I tell you this, we want our hostages back, and they better be back before I assume office, or you will be paying a very big price. With our victory in November, the years of war, weakness, and chaos will be over. I don't have wars. I had no wars other than ISIS, which I defeated, but that was a war that was started. We had no wars. I could stop wars with a telephone call. I could stop wars with just a telephone call. If properly stated, it would never start. We will replenish our military and build an Iron Dome missile defense system to ensure that no enemy can strike our homeland. And this great Iron Dome will be built entirely in the USA. We're going to build it in the USA. And Wisconsin, just like I gave you that massive ship contract, and you're doing a very nice job, Governor, right? Thank you, Governor. And they're doing a great job. In fact, I had a little design change, and we gave them a tremendous for essentially what we used to call destroyers. These are now the most beautiful. They look like yachts. I said, we have to take the bow, and we have to make it a little nicer and a little point at the top instead of a flat nose. And the people at the shipyard said, this guy sort of knows what he's doing. We have the most beautiful ships, right, Governor? And everybody sitting over there. And it was a big contract that everybody wanted. I gave it to Wisconsin, but we're going to have a lot of that built right here in the state of Wisconsin and all other states. Israel has an Iron Dome. They have a missile defense system. 342 missiles were shot into Israel, and only one got through a little bit. It was badly wounded. It fell to the ground, but most of them are. And Ronald Reagan wanted this many years ago, but we really didn't have the technology many years ago. Remember, they called it Starship, spaceship, anything to mock him. But he was a very good president, very, very good. But now we have unbelievable technology. And why should other countries have this and we don't? No, we're going to build an Iron Dome over our country. And we're going to
okay,
sure
he's winning me back with that.
Harm our people. And
yeah,
again,
why should Israel have the Iron Dome and not America?
Right here. No more sending it out to other countries in order to help. It's America first. America
That's a
first.
good question, Mr. President.
We will unleash
That's
the
a
power
good
of
question
American innovation. And
why
as
do
we
they
do,
have an
we
Iron
will soon
Dome, but
be on
not
the verge
us?
of finding the cures to
Doesn't
cancer,
seem fair to me.
Alzheimer's disease,
Doesn't
and many
seem
other
fair
diseases.
to me.
We're going to get to the bottom of it. You remember this gentleman that I don't want to mention other than one time I had to, because when you say the 10 worst, I had to do it. I didn't want anybody to be confused. But this man said, we're going to find a cure to cancer. Nothing happened. We're going to get to the cure for cancer and Alzheimer's and so many other things. We're so close to doing something great. But we need a leader that will let it be done. We will not have men playing in women's sports. That will end immediately. And we will restore and renovate our nation's once great cities, making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. And that includes our nation's capital, which is a horrible killing field. So many things. They leave from Wisconsin, they go to look at the Washington Monument, they end up getting stabbed, killed, or shot. We will be very soon very proud of our capital, again, Washington, D.C. America is on the cusp of a new golden age, but we will have the courage to seize it. We're going to take it. We're going to make it a current. We're going to bring this into a golden age like never seen before. Remember this, China wants to do it. Japan wants to do it. All of these countries want to do it. We have to produce massive amounts of energy if we're going to produce the new. If you look at some of the things that have been done,
this really is kind of just becoming a ramble, though.
But AI needs literally twice the electricity that's available now in our country. Can you imagine? But instead, we're spending places where they recharge electric cars. They built 8 chargers at a certain location toward the Midwest. 8 chargers for $9 billion. Think of them as a tank for filling up your gas. Think of it. They spent $9 billion on 8 chargers, 3 of which didn't work. And if you were going to do this all over our country, this crazy electric mandate, if you're going to do this all, and by the way, I'm all for electric. They have their application. But if somebody wants to buy a gas-powered car, gasoline-powered car, or a hybrid, they're going to be able to do it. And we're going to make that change on day 1. So to conclude, just a few short days ago, my journey with you nearly ended. We know that.
Thank goodness.
And yet, here we are tonight, all gathered together, talking about the future, promise, and a total renewal of a thing we love very much. It's called America. We live in a world of miracles. None of us knows God's plan or where life's adventure will take us. I want to thank Franklin Graham for being here tonight. He's an outstanding man. He wrote me a note recently. I have a lot of respect for him. Sir, I love your storytelling. I think it's great in front of these big rallies. But, sir, please do me one favor. It won't make any difference. Please don't use any foul language. I was a little embarrassed. I said, he said, it won't make any difference. Actually, it does. The story's not quite as good, but I've been very good. The story is not quite as good, to be honest. I've got to have a little talk with Franklin, but he was great. He's a great gentleman. His father was so incredible, Billy Graham. My father used to love taking me to see Billy Graham. My father would take me to see Billy Graham at Yankee Stadium. He had the biggest rallies you've ever seen. He was a good rally guy, too. But he'd get up, and he was a fantastic guy. My father loved Billy Graham. But I love Franklin Graham. I think Franklin's been fantastic, and I'm just working so hard to adhere to his note to me. I'm working hard on it, Franklin. But if the events of last Saturday make anything clear, it is that every single moment we have on earth is a gift from God. We have to make the most of every day for the people and for the country that we love. The attacker in Pennsylvania wanted to stop our movement, but the truth is the movement has never been about me. It has always been about you. It's your movement. It's the biggest movement in the history of our country by far. Can't be stopped. It can't be stopped. It has always been about the hardworking, patriotic citizens of America. For too long, our nation has settled for too little. We settled for too little. We've given everything to other nations, to other people. You've been told to lower your expectations and to accept less for your families. I am here tonight with the opposite message. Your expectations are not big enough. They're not big enough.
Oh.
It is time to start expecting and demanding the best leadership in the world, leadership that is bold, dynamic, relentless, and fearless. We can do that. We are Americans. Ambition is our heritage. Greatness is our birthright. But as long as our energies are spent fighting each other, our destiny will remain out of reach, and that's not acceptable. We must instead take that energy and use it to realize our country's true potential and write our own thrilling chapter of the American story. We can do it together. We will unite. We are going to come together, and success will bring us together. It is a story of love, sacrifice, and so many other things. And remember the word, devotion. It's unmatched devotion. Our American ancestors crossed the Delaware, survived the icy winter at Valley Forge, and defeated a mighty empire to establish our cherished republic.
They're going to eat that one up.
They fought so hard, they lost so many. They pushed thousands and thousands of miles across a dangerous frontier, taming the wilderness to build a life and a magnificent home for their family. They packed their families into covered wagons, trekked across hazardous trails, scaled towering mountains, and braved rivers and rapids to stake their claim on the wide open, new, and very beautiful frontier. When our way of life was threatened, American patriots marched onto the battlefield, raced into enemy strongholds, and stared down death and stared down those enemies to keep alive the flame of freedom. At Yorktown, Gettysburg, and Midway, they joined the roll call of immortal heroes. So many just so many heroes, so many great, great people. And we have to cherish those people. We can't forget those people. We have to cherish those people. And building monuments to those great people is a good thing, not a bad thing. They saved our country. No challenge was too much. No hardship was too great. No enemy was too fierce. Together, these patriots soldiered on and endured, and they prevailed because they had faith in each other, faith in their country, and above all, they had faith in their God.
Nice.
Just like our ancestors, we must now come together, rise above past differences. Any disagreements have to be put aside and go forward united as one people, one nation, pledging allegiance to one great, beautiful, I think it's so beautiful, American flag. Tonight I ask for your partnership, for your support, and I am humbly asking for your vote. I want your vote. Going to make our country great again. Every day I will strive to honor the trust you have placed in me, and I will never, ever let you down. I promise that. I will never let you down. To all of the forgotten men and women who have been neglected, abandoned, and left behind, you will be forgotten no longer. We will press forward, and together we will win, win, win. Win, 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 win. Nothing will sway us, nothing will slow us, and no one will ever stop us. No matter what dangers come our way, no matter what obstacles lie in our path, we will keep striving toward our shared and glorious destiny, and we will not fail. We will not fail. Together we will save this country, we will restore the republic, and we will usher in the rich and wonderful tomorrows that our people so truly deserve. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, brighter, happier, stronger, freer, greater, and more united than ever before.
Cheese hats get me every time.
And quite simply
always
put,
catch me off guard.
We will very quickly make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Wisconsin. God bless you. God bless you, Wisconsin, and God bless the United States of America, our great country. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Gonna let it play just a little longer. Okay. I love him using this song. This is a great song. Him playing this at his rally and at his campaign announcement, that was incredible. That was a great moment. Perfect song for that. Okay. I'm gonna turn this down here and cut back. Alrighty, so anybody who's still watching, drop any questions you want answered, anything you want to say to me, drop those in the chat. I'm just gonna give some brief final thoughts and then I'm gonna get out of here. The speech was not bad. I'm not gonna say the speech was bad. Again, goes without saying, we are pro-Trump. We are voting Trump no matter what. Based Whiteboy is 100% pro-Trump, and you should be too. However, he's not immune from criticism. This speech was very long and rambly, unfortunately. I think it's safe to say that he didn't capitalize on the moment. He was given a huge landscape shifting moment, and I really don't think he capitalized much on it. And I think it's mostly due to, again, it's bad personnel. We were talking about this last week. It's bad personnel, and it's bad advice. Got Susie Wiles and Chris LaCivita gumming up the works here, and you can see the real Trump shine through. You know, like him saying, "Why does Israel have an Iron Dome and not us?" You know, that's a great line. Him comparing us to Weimar Germany. That's a great line. You know, you can see the real Trump shining through with good ideas. But overall, it was just a really rambly speech with the more basic talking point. No, it really wasn't anything impressive. He was really soft. Going in, retelling the story of the assassination, and you know, I think it's pretty obvious that that's advice from the campaign managers and his advisors and staff. If it was up to Trump, I think it would have been a much different speech, but I think he's taking bad advice, unfortunately. And that's really been the story of the Trump administration and campaign for as long as it's been around, is his personnel choices really need work. These campaign managers who are telling him that this is the messaging that we need to be pushing right now, I think they're completely incorrect. I think we need to be pursuing real high energy capitalization on this moment. You know, Trump almost had his brains blown out on live television. You know, let's just say it like it is. Let's say it bluntly. His head almost exploded on live TV. And a moment that big really deserves capitalization. It really deserves candidate to kind of rise to the challenge. I wanted to see the kind of energy that he had in the moment, the fight, standing up, fist pumping. I wanted that energy, and we really just didn't get it, unfortunately. So I think I'm not going to say it was a bad speech at all. You know, Trump, it's not a bad speech. You know, the policies are okay still. You know, obviously there was some L's in there as well. I'm not going to pretend I agree with every single thing, but not necessarily the problems or what he said I have a problem with. It's just that I feel like this was such a huge moment that really needed capitalized on, where he really could have spoken to his specific base of, you know, white Christians, and he really just kind of didn't do that and kind of stuck to the more basic Republican platform talking point, fortunately. So, but overall, you know, the night wasn't too bad. Hulk Hogan and Dana White did good jobs. But the Trumps today, they were a little long-winded. Eric and Donald, you know, were a little long-winded today, unfortunately. Donald especially, you know, he just didn't, I feel like he just didn't bring it like he could have, and I don't think it's his fault. I don't think it's anything really that he's doing. I just think he's getting bad advice, unfortunately. So we're going to see how things keep on playing out. But that's my thoughts on the election tonight, guys. Speed Merchant says, how concerned are you on the Israel thing? Obviously, the Iron Dome thing was huge. Yeah, you know, the way I see it is that we're gonna get a Zionist in office either way. Trump is much more preferable than Biden for numerous other reasons, and even on Israel. I mean, you could hear from his rhetoric. The Iron Dome comment was huge. The recent story about Trump refusing to forgive Netanyahu for his betrayal in 2021. You know, Trump is much more based on Israel than he lets on. I think he's just taking really bad advice from really bad advisors. He has also thoughts on J.D. Vance. I've heard too many mixed results. Obviously, we have to support Trump either way. Yeah, J.D. Vance, I really am not a fan of J.D. Vance. I've mentioned before on Twitter, numerous other places, you know, I think it was a tactical error to choose someone who was a never Trumper all the way up until 2021. Even if he had a full change of heart, I just think it would be better to pick someone who was a loyalist to the end, someone like a Ben Carson. So I'm not thrilled with J.D. Vance. He obviously has major ties to Peter Thiel and Palantir. And again, this is not disqualifying for Trump at all. I think there are some good things about Vance. He seems to have a really good cabinet working with him. A lot of our guys like Andrew Torba really seem to have his ear. So I do think he can be influenced. So I don't think it's all bad by any means, but I mean, this is a guy who's right away talking about bombing Iran, got the Indian wife, so close with Peter Thiel. So I'm not super in love with J.D. Vance by any means, but at the end of the day, after the assassination attempt and everything, we are ride or die for Donald Trump. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We are getting Donald Trump in the White House. And obviously, he's got some real personnel problems. I think that's very apparent. But at this point, all we can do is sound the alarm on that and really try to make sure that we do everything we can to empower loyalists trying to get into that administration who are actually going to help him execute the agenda. And that's really all we can do, All we can do is support. It's no contest between Trump and Biden or any other Democrat, of course. It's got to be Donald Trump. But I think it's really important that we start building up a bench. We don't really have much of a roster, and they were making it clear today that J.D. Vance is probably going to be pushed after his stint as vice president. He is probably going to be pushed for a presidential slot in 2028. Which I and all of us should probably seek to avoid. But to do that, someone else has got to present themselves. We can't just manifest the most base candidate ever, as someone actually has to step forward. So I think that our focus right now needs to be on finding someone like that, building up our bench, and really getting ready for down the road. Donald Trump has been the greatest president of my lifetime, one of the greatest presidents of all time. Hands down. But after watching the RNC all week, I think it's clear the Republican Party without Trump is just as bad as the Democrats. So we need to really start getting in order who's going to inherit this movement and this MAGA energy that we have, because if we don't set up someone after Trump, if we can't crown another king of the movement, this is our future. The RNC, this is our future. Our future is Hindu prayers and porn stars giving speeches, So we can't black pill. You absolutely can't black pill. We're riding with Trump. Overall, I think it was a fine speech. It just totally didn't capitalize and was way too rambly. Was it terrible bad? No. Was it what we needed? What we were expecting? I don't think it was that either. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm really glad you guys. I appreciate you guys sticking it out for over 3 hours with me, going on almost 4. So, I really appreciate that. I know I wasn't super animated or anything. It really is just kind of hard with these speeches to really get super animated and everything. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to keep on trying to come back with these weekly streams, so I'm really hoping that we can keep on developing the show and honing our craft here. Big things ahead. We're working on a couple videos. There's big things ahead for the channel, so keep on staying tuned. Keep on showing up for the show. We appreciate you guys. Thank you to our latest subscriber, Zane Wiley. Thank you for supporting the channel. Make sure to like and subscribe, everybody. Thank you guys for joining me. And have a good one, all right? Based Whiteboy out.